It's always something. It's always something. It's always something. But hello there. How are we, good people? How we feeling today? How we feeling tonight? Y'all know what it is. Enlightened Idiot Podcast. You know, just another Saturday night of, I guess, foolishness, if you will, because it's kind of what we do. We act a monkey a little bit, but it's fun acting a monkey, you know. You know. The rant for this week. What is the rant for this week? I don't even remember. What is the rant for this week? The rant for this week is the best thing a person could do for you when you fucked up is give you advice. Somebody giving you money doesn't really help you. And I know a lot of people be like, oh man, a few dollars will help. It actually doesn't. A few dollars make you feel like you can ask that person for a few more dollars or somebody else for a few more dollars. But it doesn't teach you how to get your own dollars. So instead of looking for somebody to bless you with a few shillings, get them to bless you with some great advice. Have them teach you how to get to your own bag. That's the best thing a person can actually do for you. Real shit. And that's the random for the week, good people. But what up? What's going on? We got a few more people that should possibly be showing up at some point. We'll see what happens. You know how it go when you dealing with niggas. Niggas got to be fashionably late just to say they fashionably late. I never quite understood it. Like if you tell me to be somewhere at 9:30, 9 out of 10, I'm there at 9 o'clock. I don't see the point of getting there at 9:30, 9:35, 9:47. That's just not me. I'm the dude, I'm always early just because. Man, and you know what? I can't say that. I think it's because I don't like waiting on people. And I try to treat people the same way I would want to be treated. So because I don't like waiting on people, I don't make people wait on me. I think that's something a lot of niggas need to learn. But right now, this dude in the building, what up, son? You gonna unmute your mic? Or you just gonna
I got you. You know, hold on. Yeah, I'm here since I'm this dude again.
Am I supposed to introduce you in a different way or something? Like it's almost like you low key, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, for those that don't know, yeah, I'm a hectic entrepreneur, photographer, videographer, person of many different vices. Here with the HD Nation and whatever by Hectic podcast. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Roger the fuck that.
You
You
like
know,
you like my wall?
I can't really see it to be honest with you.
But that's cool. But it's at
Everything just
least
looks
something.
red. It looked like you sitting in fire. Everything just red as shit. Like, I don't know if that was the look. I don't know if that's what you was going for. But you look like you're just sitting in fire. I don't know.
I mean, depending on what the topic's gonna be tonight, you know.
I feel like your background ain't had nothing to do with the topics tonight, but okay, if that's
I
what we're
mean, because
going with.
you said I'm sitting in fire. So, you know, it might be those hot topics.
Yeah. All righty. All right. So before anybody else join, um, you decided to change up things a little bit. What made you decide that, well, I mean, we changed up things too, but what made you decide that it was time to make a change from whatever by Hectic to HD Nation?
Um, as you know, you've known me for a couple years now. I'm all about elevation. I never want to be in the same spot that I am the year previously. I always want to do at least one thing different. So I didn't want to put myself in a box in per se. I wanted to create a network essentially, because I have not only the podcast, but I also do photography. I also do videography. So it's like I have so many different hobbies and stuff that I do weekly, monthly, whatever. So I wanted to be able to have those different segments on one platform. I didn't want to be adult based because that kind of tends to scare a lot of people off. So that was the whole thing about doing HD Nation because I had it under Hectic Desires on my YouTube, and I was just like, I want it kind of obscure. I kind of want not to pigeonhole myself and be able to do whatever I want to do on my YouTube in a sense.
No, I could dig that. Why are you trying so hard to stray away from what I guess you're known for?
It's no longer my passion.
Mm,
It's no longer like I don't even really get enjoyment out of it anymore. And it's not because of the art that I'm not getting enjoyment. It's mostly the people. You know, when you deal with other people or having to rely on other people, it could either be a blessing or a curse. Either you could really, really love something one moment and then really hate it the next. You know,
mm.
um, going through trying to find people to work with, trying to do this, trying to do that, and then ultimately it got to the point where I'm like, I'd rather spend my money on other shit. You know, I'd rather just whether it's some other hobbies that I have going on right now, that's bringing me more fulfillment, more joy than what I was doing. I mean, I just got hit up not too long ago for a project that's possibly coming in May that I'm really excited about. But I'd rather do bigger and better things, if that makes sense.
So is the I guess the is the porn industry not, I guess, enjoyable, if you will? Like I know, I've heard a lot of, you know, actors say they
Okay.
don't even enjoy the scenes that they doing. They just, it's acting. You know what I mean? Like, is it just the acting part that's not enjoyable, or is it just the whole aspect of it?
So the sex when you have chemistry with someone, phenomenal, right? When you chilling, like I had a homegirl fly in a couple months ago, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in town. Let's shoot." I'm like, "Bet," you know. Those I still get excited about, you know. Um, I think it's the whole because it's no longer about the quality. It's no longer about the
Mm.
said art. It's more about let me see how much I can use you to pull myself up.
So the industry basically turned into the music industry at the same time.
100%, but different caliber, right? So you have the music industry, you have Hollywood, they're over here. And these people down here, but they're thinking they have the quality of over here. That's the problem. You know, like you don't have any accolades, you don't have any, you haven't even worked. You haven't even like we have new awards coming up or another awards thing coming up. People did like one thing and oh, nominate me for best new starlet or nominate me for best new ass and it's like that's cool if you're known for that, but it's hard to be known for that when you have one clip out. You know, it's hard to call your like case in point. I could give someone my camera and be like, "Hey, shoot this for me real quick." Tomorrow they're posting on their Twitter, "Hey, hire me as a camera person. I'm experienced camera person." No, you're not experienced. I literally handed you my camera. It was like, just shoot this. That doesn't
Yeah,
make you a camera person.
I remember somebody hit me up one time. Was like, "Yo, I wanna do an interview on your show," and I'm like, "Okay, bet. Send me some of your music." He sent me one song. I said, "Okay, where can I find more music at?" He said, "Oh, that's all. That's the only song I got." What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are we really about to talk about? If you got one song, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. You haven't even done enough to be able to consider yourself whatever it is. And that's like me, right? When I first got in this industry, before I even launched my website, I was shooting for a year. Before I even launched my website, I was shooting for a year because I wanted to make sure that I had enough catalog to do whatever it is that I want to do. If I get sick, if I want to take some time off, whatever, I wanted to be able. I'm a year back now. Even with both of my platforms, I still have stuff from 2024,
hmm,
2023 to release.
that you
You know what I
still
mean?
releasing.
That I'm still releasing. You know,
Hmm,
um, we live in this microwave society, so as soon
that's
as people touch something, they want to put it out, and it's like the fans are not. This is not like a Kendrick situation where they're like, "Bro, we need you to put out more albums," right? But you don't need to be Drake either. You don't always need to put out something every summer just to say you
yeah.
put something out.
Or once I had somebody say, "Oh man, I'm gonna try to put out a song every day this year," and I'm like, "For what, my nigga? Like, what you know what I mean? It ain't no way you gonna be putting out good songs if you putting out 365 songs this year. That means you just
Right,
walk in the booth, say some shit, and then put it out tomorrow."
right. No, 100%. The only person I say that did something and I was appreciative of it was Papoose. He dropped an album once a month for a year.
But he also worked on them. He
Yep.
didn't rush them, and even though he put out a song once a month, he wasn't doing. He even said it. He wasn't doing the songs that month. Like he was still like a month behind, at least for each album.
Right,
And
right.
each album didn't have a bunch of songs. I think it was like 8 songs on each one. So
6
it was like
well, yeah,
LP.
maybe 6 to 8 was like
Yeah,
max. Yeah.
yeah.
But we live in we everyone's it's like everyone wants this Ponzi scheme, get rich quick scenario, and it's like the fans or people that you consider your fans or whatever, if you don't put something out and you put something out, they'll still be there. And if they're not, you get new
It,
fans.
it is what it is.
Right.
So we got El Chapo in the building. What's up, son?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Appreciate y'all having me, man. Man, thank you for having me on y'all platform, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, all that good shit.
What's up, everybody? It is I, Tevin El Chapo. Friends call me Chop, man. And I'm here with Chop House Media Group. Got it on my shirt. You know what I mean? Listen, what we do is essentially we help people build their brands through podcasting. We also help with marketing through video content, everything that comes with that. So producing, shooting, editing, conceptualization, strategy, anything, everything you need to run a successful podcast, run successful marketing schemes for your business. We facilitate that 100% for you. So again, appreciate you having me on the show. I'm also multifaceted in a variety of ways. Other than that, just a full blown creative. But just my bread and butter. So again, thank you so much.
Definitely, man. So I really wanted to bring you on the show because we spoke at PodFest. I met this guy at PodFest, and sometimes you meet people and they just talking, but then you meet people where they don't say a lot, but what they say actually is worth listening to. And I felt like he's one of those guys where when he did talk, it was like, oh, hold on, say that one more time. When you can make me say that one more time, we need to have a full-fledged conversation at that point. So, can you explain a little bit farther into the products that you do when it comes to helping podcasters? Because there's a lot of products out there that, let's be honest, they just made to take your money. They don't really help you or actually do anything for you. They just there. Like, so what products do you have that actually benefit the podcaster?
Well, essentially, what we do is we try to guarantee people stay consistent in the space first and foremost. You know, one thing that I've noticed just in my journey of podcasting and just the failings that I've had in my own podcast journey is that one of the main reasons why people don't see success in this space at all is because they're not consistent long enough to make it happen. Whether it be a variety of factors, whether they feel like their production isn't where it needs to be, where they feel like their editing may not be up to par, whether they don't have the time to do the shooting and editing on their own, or they just don't know what direction they want to go in, or they just don't know how to market themselves through podcasts and just in general. Some people just want to get on a podcast and just talk about anything. Like, you know, they want to talk about relationships, but their business ain't built around relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or they want to just talk about sports, but they're not a coach or nothing like that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing particularly wrong with doing those things like as a hobby. But in terms of like, if you want to build and you want to grow a community and you want to like actually make money from podcasting, then the best way is to have some type of business product or service that you can promote through the podcast for one. And the podcast should be essentially a space for you to grow your community, showing that you are expert in that space that you're in. You know what I mean? So if you do real estate, you should be having a podcast talking about real estate, whether it be just different investments that you have, doing walkthroughs, having other people in the space as well, whatever that looks like, right? And it's the same thing with any space. My podcast is about videography. You know, I've been a videographer for about, this is my 12th year. You know what I mean? So I've been shooting and editing for the last 12 years of my life. So, you know, as a business, as a hobby, as a creative, it only makes sense for me to do a podcast, mainly speaking on that. And when I bring guests onto my show, they're also creatives as well, whether it be fellow podcasters, fellow videographers, photographers, you know, just anyone in the creative space. You know what I mean? So it's just like, those are kind of like the main things that we kind of help with, guiding people in the right direction for one. A lot of people want to start a podcast, but they don't necessarily have the direction. So we try to help them with strategy in terms of what works for them as the individual, works for what's for them for their brand. And then we also want to help with the production side of it too. So, excuse me, shooting and editing is a long-winded process. You know what I mean? As somebody who does it for a living is highly tedious. It takes a lot of time and hours, invisible hours. You know what I mean? So I'll give you an example. If I came and I shot your podcast for an hour, it may take like 6 hours to edit, but you only see the hour that you saw me. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just
Right.
like, imagine having to do all that by yourself and you ain't never tried a podcast before. You ain't never, you know what I mean? You don't know nobody who has a podcast or has a successful one. And you have a job, you have XYZ going on in your life. You got the kids in the back yelling, like you got 500 things on your mind and you still trying to grow your brand through the podcast and you trying to do it all by yourself. It's a guarantee that you probably not going to be consistent in it. So just being able to provide the strategy, provide the production, provide anything, everything that you need essentially to facilitate everything in your podcast 100% so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. And that we'll be able to take on that toll for you. Essentially being the producers slash managers of the podcast in a sense. So keeping you on track with whatever topics that you need to speak on. We don't necessarily provide guests specifically, but we help you to find people within your network that makes sense for what you're trying to do in your podcast. Like I said, anything you can imagine that you may need help with, even if it's just in terms of like walking people through how to shoot their own podcast by themselves. We do have clients that we handle just the editing side of. So like we may tell you like, hey, if this is your brand, this is the setup that you have. These are the types of things you should buy to boost your setup. And then just send us the footage through this. Like we'll give you a link to a Google Drive. You upload the footage to us. We'll handle the editing for you 100%. We'll get on a call and we'll track the analytics of the podcast as well. So like once you post everything, seeing what the numbers look like, see what we can change for you, what we can move around to see how we can pivot. You know what I mean? Podcasting is also a game where you can't be afraid to pivot in any direction. You know what I mean? So just having so many different things. But like I said, anything, everything you could think of for your podcast, we do it for you.
So basically, y'all got it to where all you gotta do is just show up and talk.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Like you ain't gotta do nothing else. Show up, talk, and then y'all make it pop from there.
100%. You know what I mean? So like we want to make sure, like I said, consistency is the main thing. You know what I mean? Like not everybody. When I think of podcasts, one of my favorite podcasts out right now is It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. I don't know if y'all watch it. It's like a sports show.
I pretty much watch it every day. I probably
I
shouldn't
watch
say
it
it
every
online,
day.
but I watch it every day.
Monday through Friday, 8 a.m.
Pretty
I'm watching
fucking much.
It's just every day I'm watching it, right?
That's my hour on the treadmill every day right there.
Exactly. Mine too. Mine too. When I'm in the gym, that's what I'm listening to. You know what I'm saying? So my thing with that is this. When you listen to Cameron and Mace's story about how they started that show, Cameron put up $250,000 his own money before they even started shooting anything.
Mm-hmm.
He brought Mace in. Mace said, "You know what? I'm gonna match you." That's $500,000 before anyone saw an episode. Who do you know who got that kind of bread to invest in a podcast right now?
No, that's a fact.
You feel what I'm saying? So when you invest that type of money and you see the type of traction that they have, you know what I'm saying? It's very obvious why they were able to get the growth, they get the sponsorship that they got, the notoriety just in their names. You know, Cameron and Mace been around since forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, when did Hey Ma came out? Like, you know what I'm saying? How many years ago? Like, so they've been around, like, more money, more problems. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The fact that they did something, I think I like their show because they did something different. They rappers.
outside of being
rappers out
music,
doing rap podcasts.
yeah.
It's a bunch of NBA dudes doing NBA podcasts. It's like after a while, just because that's what you did, at what point does those stories get old?
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, El Chapo, because you said like if you're a real estate agent, make a real estate podcast. However, some people don't want to talk about the shit that they realistically are doing every day, because for some people a podcast is also their escape to talk about other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on that?
I mean, there's nothing against that. I 100% respect it. You can make a podcast about anything. You know what I mean? I just think that in terms of what are your goals with the podcast? That's really the end of the day question. When we ask all of our clientele, the question is, what are your goals with this? You feel what I'm saying? So if your goal is to just have a space where you can, like, you know, vent your opinions on any specific topic, things of that nature, there's nothing wrong with having a podcast that pivots away from whatever industry that you're in. But if you're looking to actually build a community, if you're actually looking to build in terms of having people see you as an expert in your space so that you can get more business, if you're actually looking for things like sponsorships that will be consistent in terms of like your industry specifically as well, it'll be best to talk within the industry that you know. And on top of it, if you work within this industry every day, you should easily be able to talk about it. You know what I mean? And then also what I would say to that too is you can have more than one podcast. That's not impossible either. You know what I mean? So,
because speaking about Cam, he has two.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is people start a podcast and they don't know what to talk about at all. So they just talk about shit. And that's cool, because I do the same thing. I just talk about shit. But every now and then you gotta talk about something worth hearing, or drop a gem, or help somebody. Like, you gotta be able to do that as well. You can't just get on and just be like blah 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 and expect people to love it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually work that way. So when you sitting down with these folks and you like, all right, let's try to tailor your podcast to you. What's the main thing that they need to, I guess, bring to the table or understand before they can even get rolling, before you would allow them to start rolling?
I think honestly, the main thing I always want to press before anything is that this is not going to be an overnight success thing. You know what I mean? So even going back to Cameron and Mace, as far as I know, they still haven't hit 1 million subscribers yet. You feel what I'm saying? They've made a lot of success. They've done a lot of things. I'm pretty sure they definitely monetized by now. But again, like,
and they have sponsorships.
Yeah, they have sponsorships. You know,
they definitely monetized as well, because I'm tired of them fucking commercials. I just want to watch the fucking podcast.
Yeah,
I ain't saw them goddamn commercials.
I missed the early episodes when you didn't have to worry about the YouTube commercials like that.
Man, boy.
Now you got the YouTube commercials, you got the ads in it. What do you got?
They trying to force you to pay for that damn YouTube TV. Fuck y'all.
The most annoying YouTube commercial is that Temu commercial. Lord, I hate that thing. Oh, I hate it so much.
It's too many. It's too many. We get a lot of here in Atlanta. I get a lot of like Grady Hospital ads. So it's like it's a bunch of ads, but I mean, so basically the point, you know, when we talking to people is just understanding that there's still a times table to this. Like, this is not necessarily something that's going to happen overnight. This isn't going to happen in a month, you know. So it's like people kind of, especially in the generation we at now, everybody wants something fast. You know what I mean? So it's like you start a podcast today, people going to get monetized tomorrow. They want to get sponsorship the day after that. They want 1 million subscribers in 2 weeks. That's never going to happen.
It don't work that way.
Before you came in, we were just literally talking about that same thing.
You know what I mean? So like realistically, like most people stop podcasting after about 10 episodes or so. Most podcasts take about a year at the least to get monetized. Minimum. Like a year of consistently posting straight for you to see some type of like either sponsorship revenue, to see maybe some YouTube ads, maybe get some plays from the audio. Like minimum a year if you're lucky. You know what I'm saying? So it's do you prepare for that investment? And when I say investment, of course we talk about the money, of course, but on top of it is the time. Because even when we're taking on all of these responsibilities for you, you still got to show up consistently. You still got to give that same presence consistently. You still got to have the same enthusiasm.
101,000 got to be the same energy.
100%. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if you get some traction or whether you don't get any traction, you still got to have that same energy. You know what I mean? Whether you get praise or you get backlash, you got to keep that same energy. So we try to, that's one of the first things we got to have a conversation about. Like, yo, are you prepared to spend the next year of your life podcasting? Because if not, if you feel like it's too much responsibility, if you feel like you can't afford, even if it's not even about us. Like take my business out the equation. If you had to do this on your own, even, do you have the time and effort in your spirit to make this happen for the next year of your life, minimum? And even if the year goes by, like, will you still be able to keep going knowing that there's still an end game? Because it would be more of a waste of money to start a podcast, have me come in and do everything for you, and then you stop at the 10 episodes than it would be if you kept going long enough for you to actually make the money back. You feel what I'm saying? Right. Like it's an investment. You know what I mean? When you buy stocks, you don't invest for a stock to get the money back tomorrow. So
you gotta let that shit sit. Exactly. I remember when I first started my podcast, I had about 5 people. Oh shit, you got a podcast? You know what? I'm gonna start one too. And then like I see them post some shit, post another one, post maybe another one, and the next thing I know, I never see them posting again. And then I hit them up like, yo, what's up with the podcast, man? What happened? Oh man, I just don't be having time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's so many different. We do get a lot of turnaround. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. We have consistent clientele that we work with, but even sometimes it's outside your control. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to name names, but like we had clients go to jail. I can't help that. So we the podcast is over. You know what I'm saying? Or even like I'm gonna give another example. When LeBron and JJ Redick had their podcast. As soon as JJ got the job working for the Lakers, that podcast is over. That whole production, whoever was doing that production, they ain't got no job no more. You feel what I'm saying? It's like sometimes life can hit you in a way that you kind of have to stop or you got to pivot out of the podcasting space, which is perfectly fine. But it's like, if it's not like a drastic life change that's happening, you feel what I'm saying? Even if it's like something like you moving away, like moving should not stop you from doing your podcast. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
dude, I didn't move 4 times.
You know what I'm saying? Like the microphone
break a stride.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's times I done been in hotel rooms on vacation and I still did an episode.
Exactly.
Like, it is what the fuck it is. If this is what you do, this is what you do. So hold on, real quick. Hector, hold on, before you ask your question, Hector, is somebody got
to ask my question. I was going to ask that question.
Oh, okay.
Do you still think it's new? What, this one right here?
Yeah. So Laura D from the Laura Hour Network, she posed, do you think it's still room for new people to make money in the podcast game?
100%. 100%. What I will say is that's why I tell people that you got to have a business of service, because the sponsorship money is not the same what it used to be. Like sponsorship money in 2020
I
is
hear
not
they're getting
like
cheaper.
2025. Yeah, 100%.
Look how many podcasts it is. They don't
Yeah.
need to pay a lot of money anymore.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got the heavy hitters like the Joe Buttons of the world that can have like an underdog, or Gilbert's Arena, who can be sponsored by these types of people. But it's like when the ad dollars, these are like budgets that are in these companies' space like throughout the fiscal year or throughout the quarter, right? So like they're gonna give X, Y, and Z amount to the people they think is gonna make the most money back. So like whatever's left over is what the average
You get.
creator will probably
Yeah.
so it's not like a just an infinite thing. You know what I mean? So there's still possibilities to make money. Like I said, you just gotta be a little bit more creative about it. It's just a matter of having something that you can sell for one, whether it could be a course, it could be your own business, it could be, like I said, just even getting referrals through the podcast. We got clients that have gotten business off the strength of just being an expert in their space through the podcast. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, just like, hey, I saw you on the podcast. Let's work together. I have this X, Y, and Z project. I want to bring you in because I saw you on the podcast. It could be just that simple. You can have like some type of, any type of business or service that you can provide. You can do an ad for it. If you watch my podcast, we do an ad for Chop House Media Group in the podcast. So it's like, what I mean? Like, it's a literal ad break. I'm gonna keep going back to Cameron and Mace. When you watching it, you see the pink horsepower ad.
Horsepower, yeah.
That's Cam's business. You feel what I'm saying? When they start dropping, they talking about the Dipset clothing line that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
That's them. You know what I mean? That's their stuff. They're doing ads for their own businesses. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like it's just one of those things. You know what I mean? You definitely got money to make. It's just how you be creative about it, and don't expect the sponsors or don't expect YouTube to save you, especially off the rip.
So Laura, it's crazy that you say that, because in the beginning it was celebrities doing podcasting, but it wasn't like the bigger name celebrities. It was like low level DJs. They was interviewing motherfuckers, all that type shit. This is back when podcast was all audio. The shit was on fucking SoundCloud and all of that type of shit. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Podcasts have been around for a long time. They just they weren't as popular then as they are now. But I will say the celebrity influence, in my opinion, has oversaturated the podcast. And that's only because we constantly keep hearing the same stories now. So it's like every NBA player is like, all right, well, I'm gonna do a podcast. It's like how many
I'm gonna bring up Michael Jordan.
I was
like,
just
how
about
many
to say
times we gotta hear about the same shit over and over and over and over. And then it gets to the point where it's like, all right, I'm gonna listen to the people that I liked when they played in the NBA, but that don't make them a good personality. That just mean that you know who the fuck they are. Going back to It Is What It Is, what makes their podcast good, not only did they do something different by talking about sports, but they have a crazy chemistry, and they are hell of pod personalities. Like, I don't watch their show mainly just to hear about sports. It's the personality. You know what I mean? When you hearing Cam snap on a motherfucker, or you hearing Mace dropping some type of crazy ass gem, but he doing it in a funny, witty way. Like, the nigga's a whole fucking pastor in real life, and you like, you watching the
still
show,
saying nigga every episode.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what makes their show good. A lot of people don't realize podcasting is about personality. If you don't have a personality in real life, podcasting probably ain't for you, in my opinion. That's just
for sure.
And like, I was thinking about, Chop. Raw was the one who got me into podcast, and he was like, "What you doing today?" Podcasting. And then he hit me up a couple days later. "What you doing?" Another podcast. Like, I was on such a high, like I could not stop. And then the second season, I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that shit no more." Like, You know what I mean? So you can get a high from it. You can't be like, yo, hey, who wants to talk? Like, let's chop it up. I don't even give a fuck, you know? But it is about we often forget a lot of stuff that we get into for fun. It is a business at the end of the day. And we have to
100%.
start thinking about it as a business. Like I just showed Raw my whole new setup because I'm all about elevation. Like I don't want to be stagnant. I want people to be like, oh, he changed stuff up. He's talking about different topics. He's doing this different. He's doing that different. Some people, you are 100% right. Okay, so when Angela Yee was on The Breakfast Club, I watched it, but not for her. Ask me how many times I watched her show. You know what I mean? Like maybe once, and that's only because they had someone that I really wanted to see. They had some beef going on, so I really wanted to see that type thing. But
Yeah,
she's
she
not
had to bring in
entertaining to
Mano
me.
too.
Right,
So,
right,
yeah.
right, right. She's not really entertaining to me. You know what I mean? So even certain podcasts where they have certain elements, you're know, especially if it's a big group, pause, you know who runs it. You know who's just a filler. Just there to add a little
No,
something,
that's a
and
fact.
it's never really too much. It's just
That's a fact.
enough. You know what I mean?
Because they aren't really
So
personalities, if you will. Like your person when you in front of this camera or you're in front of that mic, whether you use so audio or visual, your personality shows. People resonate to the personality. It's not always the conversation. Sometimes it's just that person that they fuck with heavy, and it's like, yo, this motherfucker be saying some funny shit, or he be dropping them gems, or she be talking that shit. Like, look
yeah,
at Kevin Samuels. Nothing about that
right.
nigga personality was like super crazy, but he was talking that shit every single week. Every single episode, he talked that shit. So
For sure.
regardless if you hated him or not, you went back to hear who the fuck he about to trash this week.
And then
Yeah.
even to that point too, it's like sometimes these people may not have a personality, and they'll hire a personality to be on the show with them. So I love Carmelo
Right.
Anthony, I really do, but
He's so dry.
I
It's
ain't gonna
like,
dry on
hold
that
you.
podcast, man. He
I
had
ain't
what,
gonna
that
hold you. I'm
Mero.
mad
He
them
had,
two niggas broke up though.
yeah,
Because
they,
I think them niggas should have stayed. They should have never went to, I think it was Showtime or some shit. They should have never went there.
yeah. When they were on Vice, they was killing it. They was hot.
Man, them niggas was hilarious on
Yeah,
Vice.
yeah.
Hilarious. I was when they left, I was low key upset. And I never watched, I'm gonna be honest with you, I never watched none of these shows on Showtime. I didn't even want to see it. Because
I
at
don't
that
got
point, I'm
Showtime.
like, all right, it's not gonna be. I like the rawness, the grittiness that they had to the show. And I'm like, ain't no way Showtime gonna let them be that raw and gritty. Because them niggas ain't give a fuck.
Yeah. Sometimes the platform can destroy a whole movement.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
And sometimes it's
So,
that, sometimes it's the elevation that destroys the motivation, if you will.
but it's kind of one of those things too. Like, I feel like that's one of those things that is so easy to talk about in hindsight, but like in the moment, and you those two brothers, like, and you say like, hey, we can
Let me
get
chase
a
that
different
chicken.
bag, we can get
Uh-huh.
more exposure on a whole bigger network. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, Vice is cool. Vice don't even exist no more. Showtime is
Damn,
still
I didn't
here.
even know that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as I know, I haven't seen nothing on Vice in a minute. So, you know what I mean? Like, Vice used to do documentaries. Like, I was real heavy into Vice.
So not to toot my own horn, but I've been in Vice magazine. But I thought they were
Okay.
still around.
As far as look, if they're around, they being required.
Well, I
I don't
just
think
saw they just
I don't
did
he's talking about
one
the
doc
TV
about the
station.
passport.
He's talking about the TV
Yeah, I'm
station.
talking about the TV, so they might still be like
Oh,
doing other stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
you feel what I'm saying? Because I'm like, didn't they?
yeah.
Who am I thinking of? No, I think they sold. They had that show with what's the dude name? The rapper. What's his name? That's
2 Chainz?
Ghostface.
Oh,
No,
the white boy. Baby
yeah,
Ghostface.
Action
Oh,
Bronson.
you
Yeah,
There
you
you go.
talking about what's his
Action
name,
Bronson.
Baby
Bronson? Yeah,
Yeah,
baby
yeah,
Ghost, baby Ghostface.
yeah. So like they
yeah.
had his cooking show, I believe. I
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I think 2 Chainz had most
Had the two
expensive on
chains.
there, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
think he moved that to GQ, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
Um, so I'm like that
And you
network
haven't heard
kind of
since
like,
he moved.
you know what I mean?
No,
And yeah,
I still see clips of it.
Yeah,
I thought Vice was still around because I still see clips of the show, so I just assumed, it was still coming on. I haven't had cable in years, so
I haven't
watched.
either. So I'm
Yeah,
like, all these things I was watching on YouTube, even like This Is Amaro, like they had their whole show on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I was subscribed and I would watch every episode. So, but again, like in hindsight, like you can say it's easy to like, oh man, they should never went to that network, but we don't know what their mindset was. We don't know what kind of contracts they were signing.
no.
So
I'm not saying that they shouldn't have went. I was upset that they was leaving because I knew the show was going to change. I was happy for the niggas that to get that bag. I ain't gonna hold you because you could tell they was just two hood ass niggas that probably started out just like us, got lucky enough to get on Vice, went crazy. Now they got lucky enough to move to Showtime. But then it was like, damn, these two niggas ain't together. This is crazy. Like, but seeing that nigga with Mello,
yeah, nah, I ain't
not
like
the
that.
same.
I ain't really like that.
Carries the show because Melo really has
but
nothing to say.
Melo just got the NBA story. So like when
Yes.
he's talking about what's the new name, George Karl and how they was beefing, or when he's talking about like his friendship with LeBron, or you know what I'm saying, he's the name that brings people in type stuff. But it's like it's not really. That's what I was saying. Like you hire that personality. Even Angela Yee, she hired Mano to be on her show. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and just having those different personalities. Even like Dwight Howard, he has his podcast. I don't remember who he's doing it with, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's people like that. Like
He's probably doing it with Kitty.
Hey man, listen.
You out of pocket, son.
I ain't got nothing on that one.
You out of pocket, son. We didn't even have to go there, son.
The point being that when they don't have the personality, they'll hire the personality because they don't want these conversations to be dry like what we saying. You feel what I'm saying? Like Carmelo can't carry. I love him to death. Like I said, he's like one of my favorite basketball players. But carrying a conversation for a podcast, multiple episodes at a time, like he just can't do it. Even Paul George, like they just stopped their podcast because his team is sucking up right now. But
hey,
know
man,
what I'm saying? You got to get actors on there.
You're doing bad, but you ain't got to talk shit, son.
Look. Honest,
well,
man.
someone brought that up recently though, because of all these NBA players now starting podcasts, and they were like, well, should they have their podcast on when the season is gone? It's almost like you diverting your attention when you really should be shooting these shots.
Nah, I say no.
I don't agree with that. What you doing? Me and you just had this conversation. What you do in your off time is what you do in your off time. I don't subscribe
when it's millions on the line. It's different.
But
now.
At the end of the day, after you play a game, you still gonna go home for the night. Why you can't podcast that night for an hour and a half? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah,
I don't even think Draymond go all the way to fuck home. I think that nigga still be in the locker room somewhere doing his shit.
I think that's a double-edged sword. I can see what both of y'all saying. On one end, it's like if I'm getting paid $50 million to play basketball, I don't give a damn about the podcast. Maybe that's just me. $50 million, I'll figure it. Podcasts can wait till the summer. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever money, I guarantee he's not making $50 million off that podcast. I can guarantee.
I'm sure of it.
So it's like at that point, I would prioritize, especially the way the team been looking all year. Like you wait till February to be like, all right, I'm gonna take this.
I will say I was a little pissed when he said that.
You got about 3 more weeks before the playoffs.
Exactly. Like nigga, we already out the playoffs. Now all of a sudden you want to focus on the playoffs. Like,
that was crazy. But at the same time, everything what you saying, Raw, is 100% correct. Like realistically, he ain't doing it by himself. He got other guests, he got other hosts, he got producers, he got editors. All you gotta do, and he doing it virtually because they not in LA no more. So it's like all you gotta do is sit here and talk for maybe 2 hours a week, and that's it, bro. So I'm like, it's not like you just don't have the time for it to ever not happen. But you know what I mean?
Can you be losing and have a podcast? Think that's the better question.
I don't know. Honestly, me personally, like what Future said a long time ago, you do what you want when you popping. You feel what I'm saying? If y'all winning games, y'all 70 up, and y'all number
you
one
can do
seed,
whatever. Yeah,
I don't care about no podcast at that point. Run the play. But if y'all losing like that, Joel Embiid don't know when he want to play. Tyrese Maxey, he in and out the lineup. Paul George, he might as well not even show up and just took the $50 million and ran. You feel what I'm saying? Like I would be like, nah, I don't want to see no podcast. Nah. So as a fan, I would have been mad as hell. You know what I'm saying? That's like
I can see Paul George getting himself booed out of Philly. He don't see it yet, but he don't understand. We harsh critics. When you play like shit, we're going to let you know.
Right,
Like
and of
it is
all
what the
cities
fuck
to
it
go
is.
to be picking a podcast over playing, Philly
Yeah.
ain't the one.
Nah.
Not the sport.
Yeah.
I think honestly, if y'all hadn't won the Super Bowl, it would have been more of a big deal. You know what I'm saying? I think that would
Oh,
have.
No, that's a fact.
it moved attention away from him.
Yeah, it
That's
was
a
like
fact.
everybody looking this way, so I'm like, it gave him a little bit more time to figure it out. But
It did, but it didn't because Darius Slay is fucking himself over saying too much. So I think sometimes with these players, I can't even say these players. I think we're in an era where exposing yourself is the way to make money. So I think sometimes a lot of these players they don't know when to shut the fuck up because they feel, oh, it's a podcast. And I know
I can say
y'all
whatever.
niggas is media trained when y'all go sit to in the interview. Do the same thing when you're on your podcast, dumbass. Like sometimes y'all gotta learn when to shut the fuck up. Some of these dudes say certain shit because they know it's gonna be clickbait. So you try and get your podcast off the ground. Now I get it, but at the same time, niggas stop being greedy. Sit the fuck
Right.
down, shut the fuck
It's
up.
facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
right,
Like you said, Paul George, you making 50 grand, 50 mil a year. You don't necessarily need the podcast. I get that. You choose to want to do so, no problem, because you want the extra bread. But when you say clickbait shit, it makes you look bad. So now you talking shit and you losing. That's why he looked bad. It's not the fact that we losing. It's that
Yeah.
fact that you talk shit and we losing. Like
It's like when you making fun of someone and then get your ass whooped.
100%.
Like it's one thing to make fun of someone, but you got
all
them
day, I'm gonna
hands.
knock this nigga the fuck out.
And
When
then
we
you
get out
end
of
up
school, I'm gonna beat this nigga ass. As soon as we
Bum.
get out of school, you get your ass whooped real swift.
get
Like
slumped up, going
nigga,
crazy.
and it better not be a Monday. It
Right,
better not
right.
be
Right there
Oh,
Monday
all
you
when
got
you
week.
that
getting
It's
this
whole
shit.
week.
over. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah,
You better
yeah,
hope
yeah.
it's a Friday where niggas got a chance to forget. Because if it's Monday for the next 4 days, you probably either gonna get into another fight or niggas just gonna clown you. You ain't getting no pussy this week.
Right.
Yeah, that's a wrap. All that's done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You better hope somebody else
It's,
get knocked out.
so
Worse.
what do you think about people being disingenuous when they're doing the podcast? Like Ross said, they're doing stuff like they might have a guest, right? Let's say they have a guest that everyone knows is going through legal problems, right?
Right.
And you purposely get on there and you purposely poke the bear and intentionally like the person can't even speak on their legal situation. You go that route because you want to get the clickbait. How do you feel about that?
I personally don't like that. Honestly, I think that I think one of the main things, especially when Cat Williams did that interview with Club Shay Shay, that was like when everybody was like, okay, let me get on some platform and talk every crazy piece of shit that I can think about talking about anybody who ever looked at me wrong. What was the paid in full? If you looked at me wrong, anyone that owes me money, all
Right,
that.
right, right, right.
So that was like that era, right? Where it was like, let's just talk greasy about everybody. But my whole thing is this: you don't want to build a platform based around that type of that type of rhetoric. You feel what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be building platforms around that type of just conversations. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like once you're known for that, you kind of just always known for that. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, and you got to keep that type of energy up. You can't just do it for one person because that's just unfair. You feel what I'm saying?
And
So it's
I
like,
and I felt with Cat, right? I always look at Cat kind of player, right? But when
yeah,
you went on Club Shay Shay and did that, I'm not even and him how I feel about him he ain't losing no sleep over it. I get it, right? But it kind of made me look at him kind of sideways because it's like all the good stories I've heard about you helping people out, doing this, doing that. Now all that stuff's kind of out the window because you went about you said stuff you didn't even have to say. When people ask, and like it wasn't even like Shannon Sharp was really like pressing you on some issues. You just got the gift of gab and just threw it out there. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know how I feel about you now. For real, for real.
yeah. I mean, I feel what you're saying. I like the interview. You know what I'm saying? He definitely said more than he needed to say, 100%.
Mhm.
But I think that most of what he said, as far as I know, was relatively accurate. Some of it, in terms of like Ricky Smiley taking his role in Friday, was like a relative, like, you know what I'm saying, more opinionated. And there was a few other things that he might have said that was more opinionated type stuff that, you know, just how he was feeling. But you know, I didn't really change my opinion on him. I think that he's still one of the greats, and I think that honestly it was a good conversation, to be fair. I don't think Shannon set him up no type of way.
No,
I don't think he's that type of interviewer just in general. Like, he don't set
Nah,
anybody up.
Shannon's
Cat was
not that
already
smart.
Cat was already doing these type of conversations. It's just he wasn't on platforms where people was paying attention to it. He was mostly doing it on like radio shows and shit like that. So for some of
Right.
us, like the interview on Shay Shay, it was no surprise to me because he was already talking all the same shit. What bothers me is the fact that everybody think that they're gonna go on Shay Shay now and get the same type of. So it's almost like everybody he had after that. I think
Was trying to up one.
I think Shannon is chasing that high of that interview, so he's bringing people on almost if he's trying to get that back, and everybody's not that.
The only person he could bring on right now that will topple that is Ye.
I don't think nobody is bringing Ye on their show at this point.
I think Ye's packed up.
Everybody done with that nigga.
I think he's cooked. I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, but that's the only one that I could see because, like you're right. He was chasing that rabbit, but he could never get that same overnight success, I guess you'd say, with it. The only person that I could see him doing that with is if he got on there and did his typical stuff. So
I mean, I think that yeah, I think he did kind of chased like certain guests for that, but again, just the type of questions didn't really lead to those types of things. And then on top of it, like Cat Williams is one of those guys, like, man, he hardly ever talk. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's like everything Raw was saying, like, we only hear him talk on like radio shows here and there or his stand up, you know what I'm saying? You know, he's done a lot of great acting roles and stuff like that, but that's not him speaking his truths per se. That's just him being in a role. So it's like we do see him, but we don't necessarily see how he feels about certain situations. You feel what I'm saying? So it was like probably the most candid we've ever heard him. And he's done more interviews since then, you know what I'm saying, where he's getting more, you know, introspective and things of that nature on different topics. I just saw him on Theo Vaughn's podcast like a little while ago. But yeah, just in terms of like, you know, looking for the sensational ass, like clickbaity, like type stuff, like I would say never go for that. That's just not cool. It's not the move.
I was about to ask you when you talking to your clients, like how do you approach that type of subject?
I mean, honestly, I tell people to be their genuine selves. So I'm like, if you genuinely that messy, then be that. So live that truth. But like, nah, for real, you know, we all know people who are just like that and will just generally don't have a filter and will just ask however, whatever they feel. But at the same time, too, it's like, for one, you need to have a conversation with the guests before you even bring them on. Like, look, what can we talk about? What we should not be talking about? You feel what I'm saying? Because like they should not feel inclined to, you know, get set up in any manner. Even like, you know, with artists at the radio station, like when rappers go to the radio station, we don't ever hear it, but they ask before they go on air, like, hey, can we talk about this case? Can we talk about that? Your beef with such and such? Like, can we bring this stuff up? And they'd be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know, or their manager might bring it up beforehand, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, before we even get to the station, we can talk about this, that, and the third, but don't bring this up. You feel what I'm saying? So,
and if you can't hold that, we ain't even doing the interview.
Right. We ain't gonna do the interview, or we ain't gonna let you release it, or you know what I'm saying, we ain't gonna come back on your platform, or we gonna talk down on you, or we gonna figure out a way to blackball you from ever doing this again. You feel
I've
what I'm saying?
had people come through to do an interview and I ask them like, yo, what do you want to talk about? Oh, we could talk about anything. Okay, what do you want to promote? We could promote everything. All right. I'm trying to help you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to get out of this? Especially if you came to me. Like, if I reach out to you, I know what I want to talk about. But if you came to me, all right, what are you trying to get out of this? What do you want to talk about? When you keep saying everything, anything, that means I could ask you whatever the fuck I want at this point.
Look, and then
once you start stumbling and fumbling, now you look bad.
And then see, that's the thing too. So it's like, if people ask you a crazy question on a podcast, you can decline to say anything about it for real. You can move on, you know, respectfully. But I tell people too, like, listen, don't say nothing that'll incriminate yourself. Don't be sitting here out here like feeling away if the clip come out crazy. You said it. You said it. And so I'm like, yo, like don't answer the question and be like, oh, we can talk about anything. And then we start bringing up all the crazy questions. And then you give all the crazy answers. And then you're like, oh, they made me look crazy. They didn't edit this out. The edit made me look crazy. Like, nah, it wasn't no edit right there. That's what you
even
said.
before I was doing lives, I tell people all the time, even when we pre-record, what you say is what you said. I'm putting it out just like that. Oh man, it don't matter. Them motherfuckers come back like, oh man, I thought you was gonna take that out. Nigga, I specifically told you, if you say it, you said it. Stand on it at this point. You shouldn't have said it if you didn't want people to hear it.
Facts.
It kind of is what it is at that point.
I think we definitely have a lack of accountability, self-accountability with a lot of people. I don't know if they go into a situation thinking it's going to be something totally different. But if you have an interviewer that's really do their job, there's likely some stuff about to come out. You know what I mean? Like, and
you know
especially the bigger networks that have interns, and that's all the interns do. That's all they do.
I didn't ask motherfuckers. Let's say an artist come on the show, and I'll ask them about a bar that they did 15 years ago, and they be like, wait, what? You listen to that song? Yeah, nigga. If I'm gonna interview you, I'm gonna interview you. What the fuck you mean? I wouldn't listen to your whole catalog from start to finish this week. Sometimes I might listen to it twice, and I'll literally write down certain bars. What did you mean when you said this right here? Motherfuckers be looking at me crazy. Oh man, I thought we was just gonna talk about my new shit. Nigga, you said anything.
It's called due diligence, you know, and I think that you know, a lot of people in this era, like the podcasting era, the streaming era, even, you know, people like Casanai who are being, you know, considered journalists, even though they're not really, he's not a journalist at all. He's just an influencer who has a lot of influence. But
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know this might sound like hating. I don't see the hype.
I mean, I don't
know. I don't get it.
Brother getting money, man.
Maybe I'm too old to understand it. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't see it.
I literally had someone hit me up and was like, "What's an influencer?" And I was like, "This is what
kind of it's a whole thing now." I think. I mean, I don't know. I watch some of his content. You know what I mean? I'm a fan to a degree. I'm really just a fan of young brothers getting money without having to be in the street. So, you know, he's getting legal money, millions of dollars, doing what he want to do, living his best life. He want to dress up as
I respect it. I definitely respect it. It's just like I know a lot of people for some reason every time you say you're something ain't for you or you don't like it or it's not my cup of tea.
You're a hater.
Like it's not that I'm hating on a nigga. It's just I don't see it. I don't get the hype. He reminds me of a younger. It's almost like a younger Jim Carrey that just stand in front of a camera. So I mean,
really but that's kind of just the generation that we in. So it's like again, these people aren't journalists. They don't do due diligence on people. So it's like when you might have an artist and you might bring up a bar from like 10, 15 years ago, but Kai Cenat probably ain't listening that far. You feel what I'm saying?
The nigga probably ain't listening to shit you put out at all.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like he even had a whole thing like when Travis Scott didn't win the Grammy over Killer Mike, and he didn't know who Killer Mike was. He was streaming in Atlanta talking about how he didn't know who Killer Mike was. I'm like, so it's like, yo, like it's stuff like that. It's like, but again, I think
that's the clip that actually made him famous too, ain't it?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That kind of built up even more, like on top of Killer Mike getting arrested that night. That was just a whole thing for him. Like there's a lot going on, but it built up more notoriety for Killer Mike in that album. But the point being is just that, like,
which was a great fucking album.
Not to know nothing about Killer.
That album is fire.
So it's like I don't look at him. He's like 21. I don't expect him to listen to nothing that Killer Mike, Run the Jewels, none of that. Like, I'd be surprised if he did. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a fact.
That's due diligence that a real, like, you know, someone that actually does this really would do. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not necessarily something that I expect. But when people jump into podcasting, they don't necessarily try and be journalists or try to be investigative or do actual research on their guests aside from what they Instagram tell them. And you know, Instagram only going to tell you so much for real about what you're doing.
They gave you what Instagram is what they want you to see.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You might go on Instagram, TikTok, scroll for like 30 minutes before they show up and be like, all right, well, let's do this interview. And then that's it. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like that's kind of just where we at right now. You know, people are like, hey, we can just have a good conversation. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get on this stream or you get on this podcast and we can talk for like 45 minutes. I mean, I got the content, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, why do I gotta do real research? So it's like there's a difference. I think that the landscape has been changing so much, not even just like in terms of like music, but like sports, every field in terms of entertainment, in terms of what it means to be a journalist in that space specifically, especially
Is there actually a such thing as a journalist now?
there is. It's just different now. So like even I would say even Cameron and Mace, they do a lot of their due diligence. They even because of them kind of pivoting away from music, talking about sports, they had to like do more research into things, into the rules of each individual sports stats. They may have certain times where they be like, I didn't watch this game. You know what I'm saying? They might have times like that, but they still taking their time. They still taking their due diligence. You feel what I'm saying? So you have people like that. Elliot Wilson still out here. Joe Button to a degree is still, you know what I mean? Like there's still people out here that do this, but it's more and more rare as we go. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's gonna get to a point
Why do
where
you think that is though?
I mean just the young generation don't care. So nobody cares
It's,
to do
it's
it. That's it.
attention span.
This
It's the
attention
attention
span
span.
thing. Like, you know what I mean? Why would I take hours trying to do research on somebody when I can just scroll, like I said, on the Instagram 20 minutes before they show up and we could have an hour-long conversation. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like it's just one of those things that like, if I don't have to do it and I still get the content, why would I care to do it? And then AI is getting better. So I'm like, hey, we have a celebrity on, like, hey, tell me about Mace in 130 words in ChatGPT, and then you tell them everything you need to know. It's stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, do we really Wikipedia? You know what I'm saying? Been around since forever. It's not really a need for everybody to be a journalist, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing because I think the new wave of journalism will be YouTube, but not necessarily even in just podcasting. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people do like video essays. I watch a lot of video essays on YouTube on a variety of topics. You know what I mean? So it's like there's still journalism happening. People are still doing research, but they're just not doing it in a podcasting type space. They may do it in like a YouTube video, like a voiceover with some B-roll running. You know what I mean? I watch a lot of videos like that. So it's so many different ways that journalism. Of course, you still got the radio; it still exists. You still have people who are going to do their due diligence, look at the history of certain things. Um, but it's mainly going to just be like, what are you interested in specifically, and like what it is that you really want to do. Like, but influence now more than ever is the new journalism, right?
Currency,
You don't
yeah.
necessarily need to be a journalist doing your due diligence as much as you need to be an influencer who can, get in these rooms and talk to these people, right? Like even if you watching, like if you watching these videos where they be talking to these celebrities, like, hey, fit check, like, hey, how much did this hat cost? How much did the hoodie cost? You know what I mean? They just walk up to random celebrities. They recording the audio on their phone. They got another homie recording on their phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the whole video. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like it's stuff like that where you don't necessarily need to be a journalist anymore. At least not in like certain spaces. You can go to Rolling Loud and not be a journalist for real. If you have enough influence, they'll put you with some type of brand and have you interview people anyway. So it's just kind of like
There's actually apps out there where you can actually apply to be like ambassadors and all of that type of shit.
Brand
Influencers.
ambassador's been forever, especially since
Nah, I
there was
mean
the
not just
IG.
brand ambassadors, but like let's say it's apps out there where you go on and you show like your influence on like YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and you can get hired to do certain jobs specifically to push certain products in certain areas type shit. So it's like the whole landscape of everything is completely different. Where do you see podcasting in the next 10 years?
definitely bigger than what it is now. I could definitely see just a lot more people garnering success because of podcasting. I see a lot more I'm gonna say just toxic nature coming into the space as well, because the more people, just even we seeing it now, more people get into it and get success from it. Like we probably only seeing like maybe 5%. Like the most successful podcast in the world is probably like 5% of everybody who's podcasting right now.
Shit, if that.
If that, what I mean? I'm being generous saying 5. I'm really thinking about 1, but it's just kind of like, we're going to see a lot more of that. There's going to be a lot of different just blends. There's already so many podcasts for so many different people and so many different topics. It's just going to continue to grow, but I will say that the ad spend is going to just keep going down. You feel what I'm saying?
100%.
So I'm like, the best bet for you in terms of like getting money from a podcast is going to be how do you promote yourself, promote your own businesses. And then the secondary will probably be just YouTube money that you can get depending on how many views you can get off of that. Then the third will probably be just direct monetization from the audio. But anything from like I said, an Underdog or a Prize Picks or these major companies that be like sponsoring Factor, all these major companies that be doing sponsorships for people's stuff, that's probably is going to keep going down more than anything. You know what I mean?
So what do you think where do you think the bigger bag is? YouTube or TikTok?
Definitely YouTube. Definitely YouTube. I think that honestly, the thing with TikTok is this. There's still a lot of things up in the air about what that whole China situation is going to look like moving forward. The algorithm hasn't been necessarily moving the same way because of that. I know that Instagram has been pivoting their algorithms to kind of combat it a little bit better. But even YouTube have done the same thing. They've been generating a lot more integrations for like short form content, like with the YouTube Shorts. So I mean, like in terms of like getting like the biggest bag, I would definitely say YouTube. In terms of getting probably the best exposure, you still want to be on Instagram, TikTok, things of that nature. But in terms of like actual like money directly from the content, it's going to be YouTube. And that's actually another thing, a part of the future. Like whoever's doing just audio podcasting now, I see a lot more people doing more video podcasting moving forward too. Just off the street.
Audio podcast is boring.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? I can't agree with that. The thing with audio podcasting where people fuck up at is, again, it goes back to personality. I can't see you. So your personality through your voice, through your content has to show the whole episode.
So
it
you don't
can't
want
just be a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
blah.
like you don't want old guy from the Dry Eye, the
like you can't do that. Like, nah, you got to be on point all time. And that's why it's crazy, because if I'm not mistaken, it's still the number one genre. Don't quote me on it, but the true crime shit.
Yeah,
I know at one point,
still
I don't know if it
crazy.
still is or not, that was the number one genre of podcast. And that's because one, you got to be into that shit. But it's almost like the way that they do them shits, it's almost like you visualize the movie. You might not be watching it, but you're listening and you're visualizing everything, because they break it down, every detail, everything. A lot of people do these audio podcasts and they just talking.
Yeah,
like, you get nothing out of it.
I think a lot of it too is kind of, I'm gonna just say lazy, for lack of a better word. Honestly, it's so much easier to do an audio podcast. You ain't gotta look the part no type of way. When I do my podcast on YouTube, I gotta actually be presentable, put on an outfit, you know what I mean? Be prepared to speak, have speaking points, like, you know what I'm saying, together, be prepared to look at a camera, light myself a certain type of way. My lighting right now is trash, so don't judge what's happening right now. Specifically, I'm at my house at 11 o'clock at night. We're not going crazy on the lighting right now. But point being is that, like, it's so much easier to do an audio podcast just off the strength of all you need is a good mic and just somebody to talk to or something to talk about, and that's really it. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't even think it's boring, because there's a place for audio podcasting. I listen to podcasts on YouTube, but I listen to when I'm driving. You feel what I'm saying? I could be having a long trip somewhere. I could be in the work gym.
Be able to watch it if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having the option is great, but it's like it's still, the audio still got more reach off the strength. You still got people on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. These are still like premium places for podcasting. You know what I mean? It's not as lucrative. I think in the future it won't be as lucrative as YouTube per se. Once they try to figure out how to incorporate audio only podcasting a little bit better in the future.
I think the audio for like Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that shit, it's actually worse than actual underground rappers. Like they're not going to push your shit as hard. No, it is. They're not going to push your shit as hard as they would with other shit. Like you got to get way too many fucking streams to make one fucking penny. So like the benefit of having audio is not really that great unless that's just your thing and you got a great audio podcast. Like he said, it's a lot of times when I was driving from Pittsburgh to Philly. That's a 5-hour drive. I throw on a podcast for at least 3 hours because I know I'm gonna get some laughs in, I'm gonna hear some shit. So certain podcasts I know for a fact I could listen to on a long drive. If I'm at the crib, I'm gonna watch them. I'd rather watch than just listen, unless let's say I'm cleaning up or something. You know what I mean? But if I'm chilling, sitting on the couch, I want to actually watch. But I like facial expressions. I like seeing why motherfuckers was laughing. Like if a motherfucker crack a joke, I want to know why did this nigga say that fucking hectic forehead's this motherfucker shiny? Why did he ask that question? Like I want to know these things. Like
why are you talking about my forehead, my guy? Like there's certain things
your
we
shit
talked
definitely
about
gleaming,
last week.
I ain't gonna hold you.
Hey, I can't help that I have great skin.
Man, get the fuck out of here. We ain't doing this shit. We ain't doing this shit, son.
My bad that I exfoliated and all that. My bad. I'm sorry.
Whatever, nigga. But when it comes to audio podcasting, though, I think honestly, you actually have to work harder to have a good audio podcast. But at the same time, why even work that hard when you could just put out a visual? Because people are visual people these days. And for real, like you said earlier, the shorts, that's actually where it's at. For real. It's a lot of podcasts out there that nobody has ever watched a full podcast. All they do is watch shorts from that podcast.
A lot of traction.
Like the pop the balloon shit. People just start actually watching whole episodes. And that's mainly because here's what's crazy, and it blows my mind. People don't watch the actual episodes of Pop Balloon. They watch the clips and then they find somebody doing a reaction to that specific one. And that's the one that they end up watching.
Facts. You know,
it's amazing how that fucking works.
100%.
So how do you feel about, and I got my opinion on it, but I may share it. I don't know. How do you feel about so many influencers, if you will, all their content is just regurgitation of other content?
Like everybody's trying to pop the balloons, everybody trying to do the one.
Not even just that. So like let's say somebody, you got a motherfucker out there, every episode that It Is What It Is come out, they find a clip for that so they could, oh, well, this is what Cameron really meant. This is what Cameron was saying when he did that. They get a Pop Balloon clip. Oh, this motherfucker, what's what they call the nigga, turtleneck or some shit like that.
The plumber.
Yeah. Like every time he's on something, it's like 95 motherfuckers doing a video that talk about what he did on that. Or like, how do you feel about that as a influencer space, if you will?
Honestly, that's part of the game, one way or another. You know, I mean, I think that that's kind of like gun control. The cat's out the bag at this point. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can't stop people from doing that ever in life. You feel what I'm saying?
No, that's a fact.
It's like, I think that it garners, it works both ways, right? It garners like smaller creatives to get recognition from repurposing your content, and then it gives your content more.
He said repurposing.
That's what it is. Like that's essentially what it is. They repurpose your content. So like somebody can take this video right now, probably put they little screen in like one of the corners or something, you know what I'm saying, react to what we talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, it's just one of those things that exists. Like people, especially in the Twitch space, and as that's been like what it is, like that's what a lot of people do. You know, they just react to stuff and they talk about it with their Twitch community. You know what I mean? And I think that again, it makes more collaboration in terms of your content gets more legs because more people get to see it just through a third party. You know what I'm saying? If they find it entertaining enough, they may actually it's damn near free promotion. You feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I said, it's just one of those things. It's just part of the game at this point. You know what I mean? I think
Can
that
you can you see more podcasts going to the Twitch space?
nah. Nah, I don't see that happening only because Twitch is a real fickle space to be in.
Very,
It's
very.
very hard to grow in Twitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think being an influencer or content creator in these specific spaces, like we think it's so easy, but it's not. Getting a
No,
million subscribers on YouTube is not easy. Getting
no.
5,000 people on Twitch is hard as shit. That's just 5,000 people. You live
First
in a
of
city
all,
that has more people than
it's
that.
still people that don't even know Twitch exists.
Exactly. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like, and now I think the Twitch streamers are getting smarter because now they're getting to a point where they're repurposing their own content. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna record through Twitch and I'm gonna repost it on YouTube so I can get, you know what I'm saying, more people into the Twitch streams off of that. You know what I mean? It's only like maybe one Twitch streamer that I watch, and I don't even watch them on Twitch because they be twitching late. And you know, I'm kind of getting older. I don't be up super late at night no more. So it's kind of like I don't, you know what I mean? That's why I'm out the game completely. You feel what I'm saying? But in terms of podcasting, I don't really see a space where full blown episodes will ever make it to Twitch unless that person already had a following there or they already have a following just naturally from the podcast. So like if Cam and Mace was like, hey, we're gonna do a live stream on Twitch, I'm sure they can get a decent number. You know what I mean? Probably not as nearly as many people they would get on YouTube.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
their
But
name alone gonna get people to go over there and watch.
yeah.
Do I
I mean,
see?
look at T-Pain.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
T-Pain,
mean,
he's another one. But
I still have yet to watch one thing he did over there. But at the
yo,
same
you
time,
got
he
it.
did start with gaming though.
Yeah, his
So and
Temu
Twitch was
hauls
a
be
gaming.
hilarious.
Twitch was 100% gaming app at one point in time, and he started with that. That's how his shit grew. Pause, and then he started doing other shit.
Yeah, his Temu hauls, like I be watching the joints on YouTube. That shit is hilarious.
Temu halls. This nigga
Yeah,
doing Temu
he
halls.
be buying like thousands of dollars of stuff on Temu, and it be the most
Yo,
randomest things ever. Just watch one of them. So, like
that's
the type
fucking
of stuff he's
funny.
buying, it's just rich niggas with money type shit. Like and just spending on some of the cheapest stuff that still look cool, but it's cheap as hell because you got it from Temu. So some of it be crazy, some of it don't fit right, some of it be what it is. You know, it's just so many things. And he gives some of that stuff to his actual community. So it's a fun
That's
time.
dope.
But like in terms of like I don't think podcasting is gonna live on Twitch mainly because even in terms of live streaming, you can do that on YouTube too now. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not really
I mean,
a need
we live
where
streaming to YouTube right now, so I get it.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like Twitch, even like I would say OnlyFans to a degree. It's like, man, these spaces aren't super easy to be mad successful in. Just because we see a lot of people doing it, don't mean a lot of people are mad successful in doing it. Even the same with like YouTube to a degree. I think YouTube is probably the easiest out of the three to grow and be successful in, but it still takes a lot of time and consistency to even grow in that. So it's like in terms of doing anything live, if you already have a YouTube channel, just run it on YouTube. You feel what I'm saying? Going on Twitch, it's like you got to build that audience from the ground up, no matter what you're doing on any other platform.
No, that's a fact. 3 of my homies started the OnlyFans and got pissed the fuck off. Oh man, these cheap ass niggas. And I'm like, first of all, you know how hard it is to find people on OnlyFans. For one, it's not one of those situations where you could just click on and just find motherfuckers. You have to send your link. Therefore, you have to fucking promote. OnlyFans is not easy, and OnlyFans might be way, way, way harder to gain any type of notoriety than YouTube. And YouTube is nowhere near easy.
It's not, yeah. That's what
And
I'm saying.
people
It's probably
don't
the
understand it.
third. It's probably like the easiest out of the three. Like I said, between Twitch, OnlyFans, and YouTube, YouTube is definitely the easiest. But again, it's still hard as shit. So it's like just imagine how much harder it would be to be on OnlyFans. Like I don't really be on OnlyFans. I've never been. I never bought anybody's OnlyFans, but I know for a fact that like everything that you're saying, you gotta promote it like crazy. You got to give people a reason, and basically, you have to have a following somewhere else for people to care about your OnlyFans.
Yes,
you feel what I'm
and
saying?
that's another thing I tell people. Wherever you have a
Cross-promoting.
following that already, use that to promote the next thing. Don't try to start from the beginning. Use the first thing. Oh, but I don't want people to know I'm doing it. So therefore, you don't want to make money off of it. What the fuck are you doing it for?
And then see, Twitch is different because it's essentially you got to build your community there first, and then get them to go everywhere else.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? Versus like vice versa for like anything else that you're doing. So it's like with Kai Cenat is a great example. He built his whole following on Twitch first, and then people started following him on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Like all that other stuff started happening, like after he already built the Twitch following up. So it's kind of like it's tough.
I try to like just randomly on different days, just go on Twitch just to kind of like get an understanding of it. That's not the easiest shit to navigate for one, because it just feel like it's just a bunch of shit, just random as shit. You know what I mean?
It is.
And it was like I'm just seeing random shit, and I'm like, why the fuck I want to watch this? Scroll. After a while, I got tired of shit, so I'm like, all right, let me just type in random fucking keywords. And it was just more just random dumb shit. It was like, what the fuck are people actually on here for? Like, I don't get it. But at the same time, if I'm not one of those people that I'm not about to watch you play a game, I'm just not fucking doing that. I'm not sitting for 2 hours watching you play the same game that I got at the house that I could play my motherfucking self. But I'm also from an era where I wanted to beat the game. I don't want you to show me how to beat the game. I want to beat the game. I want to say it took me a week to beat this motherfucker. Not, oh, I watched you play it. I just did all the shit that you did. I don't quite understand it. I don't get it.
But see, yeah, and then with me, I will do that. I'll watch somebody play a game because, for one, it's cheaper than buying the game. So it's like if I can watch
what?
I can watch you play the game. If I can watch you play the game. And I ain't gotta buy it, and I ain't got most of the experience without having to do anything but sit here and watch it. Like, I'm cool with that. I didn't save a lot of money on video games, not having to, you know what I'm saying? Just I watch other people do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's not, and even if you really like a hardcore gamer, it's like if you see somebody enjoying that game or it looks cool, it looks fun, and like you ain't gotta watch the whole thing. You watch like maybe 20 minutes, you be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that game. You feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, or it'll be like, or it could have been trash. Like back when I was playing video games, like early Xbox era, you had to buy the game to figure out if it was trash.
No, fact.
So like,
my son watched somebody play this fucking game, and Dad, I want to get this game. I want to get this game so bad. Take the nigga, he get the fucking game. He come home a week later. I'm like, yo, what's up with the game, man? Oh, what's wrong? The game was way tougher than he fucking thought.
Exactly.
But you watch somebody else play, and I'm like, I said, what you don't understand is these motherfuckers play the game for hours before they stream this motherfucker. So they're actually good at it already. So it looks like the game is easier than it actually is. So now you sitting there upset because you can't get past no level. And the game was like some fucking like British spy game bullshit. I don't even know what the fuck this shit was. The shit was fucking trash.
But see, that also depends on the gamer too. Like some of these gamers do like practice before, or they might even get a beta. Like the studios will send them like a tester version of the game, and you know what I'm saying. And then they'll have a little practice. And then some people buy it first day, first week, and they just play it straight up. Those are the ones I go for because it's like, I want to see like the real natural first reactions. You feel what I'm saying? So there are people, some people do it, some people don't. It really just depends on the creative, you know what I mean, and just how big they are. But realistically, you know what I mean? Like I said, I watch that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I watch people like do reaction videos, when they react to people's YouTube stuff, like what we were just talking about. I watch some of that too. But again, it depends on the creative specifically. I don't watch everybody do it. And that's why most of that, like I said, they repurpose that and put it on YouTube. I just watch it on YouTube because then I can watch it on my own time. I find Twitch to kind of be unintuitive at times. Like sometimes it'll bug out. And then you watching it live. So like if somebody did say something funny or something interesting and you want to run it back, you can't really run it back. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things I don't really like. And then, like I said, most of these streamers be mad late at night streaming and stuff like that. I can watch on my own time on YouTube type stuff. And then when you go on Twitch, it's like everything, like you said, man, it's so much stuff people are on there talking about. You got the half naked women on there. You got the video gamers. You got the people playing GTA 5.
I thought you couldn't do that on Twitch. I thought Twitch was
Nah,
like
you can push the limit.
They push the limit on there. They definitely be pushing the limit. You got people on there who just go on there and go to sleep. I saw a stream where they was just like, "This is a sleep stream," and they just in the bed sleep with the camera on.
What does and somebody watch that shit?
I didn't. I just,
like, what the fuck? I would have watched you take a nap for it. What the fuck?
Like, you know, when you can go through it, you can see it on the thumbnail. I'm like, if I see you sleeping in the thumbnail, I'm going past it. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? But point being, it's too much going on Twitch for me personally. I think that in terms of like curating what I want to see, I can get a lot better on YouTube. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or I could just like watch a regular TV show at that point and just go on there. You know.
All right, I have a different question for you.
What's up?
We're in similar field, right? How do you feel about the photography, videography? Well, let me pose one question. How do you feel if you wanted to shoot a model, right? She wanted you to pay her. He wanted you then to give her all the raws after the shoot. So you paid her and she wants the raws. How do you feel about that new? Because it seemed like that's a new.
Wait. You paid her and gave her everything, so you don't get nothing out of the shit?
I don't know what the hell is going on lately, but that's what these girls are on right now. Like where they want you to pay them and then give them the pictures.
Yeah, that's different.
I ain't never done that before.
I ain't say I've done it. I'm just saying lately that's what I've been approached with. I just had one today hit me. She wanted me to pay for her hair and makeup for $200. She wanted me to pay her $200. Then she wanted me to give her all the photos. And I just left on red and kept it moving. Like, nah, that's dumb.
First and foremost, why am I would never pay a model to do anything. I think, you know what I mean, if we doing that, you can just find somebody just through your following or your community.
He ain't telling you the full story, my nigga, but
no, that is a full story. That's a full story.
See, I don't think y'all do the same type of photography. So he's a little confused though what the fuck you talking about.
No.
Oh, you doing the OF photography?
No, it wasn't even that.
Brother.
It wasn't even that.
I don't really.
It was not even that.
I don't judge. It was nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying I don't do it.
Yeah. No, but it was a regular
PG-13.
It was a regular bikini photo shoot. That's all it was. It was a bikini or bodyscape or silhouette photo shoot.
So were you getting paid through like a publisher to do this shoot? Is that why she was trying to?
Nope.
So she wanted you to come out of pocket to pay her to do photos for her, essentially?
Nope. Well, kinda, I guess. I guess when you spin it that way, yeah. Kinda.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what the fuck I heard when you first said it.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, what does me?
That's why I said, what the fuck do you get out the deal at that point?
Yeah.
Like all you doing is you giving away the you paying her, giving her your time, giving her the footage. Basically, she basically said, nigga, it's an honor for you to take my picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like, so you doing this for some type of exposure from her? Like, okay, I work with this person, so
I have way more exposure than she has.
So why?
Actually, what happened? So what happened? Let me reverse. I posted something on Facebook saying, hey, I'm interested in I'm looking for models for these types of shoots, right? She hits me up. So I'm asking her my normal, okay, have you modeled before? Because even on her IG, I don't really see a lot, right? I don't see no links to nothing, whatever. So I'm like, you ever modeled before? She's like, yeah, she sent me some. I'm like, okay, they cool. They ain't popping, they cool, but whatever. So then today I wasn't paying no attention, and that's when she sent the link. Or she said whatever she said about paying her makeup artist, paying her, and getting the photos. And I looked at it, and I was like, "Not today, Satan!" And I just kept on moving. Like,
I mean, all right. So look, all right. I will say, one thing I learned just in life, and I mean, this is a business thing, but it applies to everything in life. You never get what you deserve. You only get what you negotiate. So if that was her
Right.
negotiation tactic, like, hey, I want you to pay for this, and I need the raws, and then you could have had a rebuttal. It's like, no, we ain't doing that. If you want the raws, it'll be this price.
Right.
We don't
So
cover any of that stuff.
so
Whatever.
normally, yes. So normally I have this whole template where I say, hey, unfortunately, we would love to work with you, but blah 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 blah. This one, I was just like, I'm not even giving them that. Like I'm good. It's not even. I shot a model a couple days ago, chill, cool, fire photos. Not even pressed for it. It's just like shit that I like to do from time to time. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, yeah,
yeah,
no.
I'm not breaking the bread that she was looking for photos. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like models, I don't think I ever paid a model for something that I wasn't getting paid to do. So it's like if we getting paid from like a brand doing a shoot for them, then of course we paying
Mhm.
the models. We pay for the makeup, hair, whoever, whatever, because it's
But they're
not
not coming around and
a,
asking for the photos afterwards.
I mean, hell no, that's part of the contract. Because when you're working with brands like that, like that's gonna cover your expenses that look like that as a model, they have their own contracts about what you gonna get out of it, and you're gonna get this amount of money, and you'll get that amount of money. That's about it. All right. So you want raws, you want to be flued out, you want green M and M's. Like, nah, we don't do
You're
all that.
right.
We
Right.
ain't doing all that. And then in terms of like me, like I don't know, I live in Atlanta. It's real easy to get models for free. So I'm like, I ain't never had that problem. And if you want the raws, my whole thing is like, again, you probably gonna have to pay for that more than likely. And then for two, even if I do give you the raws, one thing I learned, most people don't know what the hell to do with that anyway.
I
At
was about to
all.
say, why would a person want the raw footage?
Just to
So
say
When,
that they
when
have,
when they're saying raws, people, they ain't talking about me. They talking about raw footage. Just so y'all know.
basically they want the raws so that in the event they want to repurpose it or post it as their own, they can do that. But again, when it
But
comes
now
to
you got to turn
raw,
around and pay somebody else to edit them anyway.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. When it comes to like raw photos specifically, raw video is different. You can take a raw video and iPhone cut it with CapCut and get a little clip out and throw it out there. Raw
yeah,
photos that are in raw
different.
format, raw from a camera, you
Yeah.
got to know what you're doing and actually know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
yeah.
edit and things of that nature. That's not something you can just throw up
And
because it's
and I
not.
just saw some models. So what they would do is they won't even edit the joint. It'll be like, say if it's a studio backdrop, they will post the whole, just you see C stands and all that stuff just in the photos, and you're like,
I
and
mean,
then
that's
be
like
like,
a thing
my
now, ain't it?
my favorite,
Yeah, like
it's
BCS and stuff
yeah,
like that. I
but
mean,
not
that's
even
possible too.
BTS, but it's just photos.
Yeah, but I see a lot of people posting those. I just figured that was just like a new wave to show, like, your backstage shit, your
No, what it is
behind the scenes shit.
they're knocking photographers over the heads, and the photographers are just sending them everything, and then these girls are just, so a photographer would do this, right? Hey, I'm gonna send you the photos so you can go ahead and peruse through them, so you can go ahead and pick which ones you want me to edit. Those are the ones that I edit. But these girls think they're slick a lot of times, so they get it, and they're not even getting the raws. Most people don't even know they're not even actually getting the actual raws anyway. Um, but they get it, be like, all right, well, bump him because he's charging X amount of dollars to edit these. I'll just put some BS filter over it and post it online, and then look at me, girls, look at what I'm doing. I'm a model. Back to, like, full circle to back to what we originally started talking about, how people really aren't doing anything in the craft, right? They're not building their catalog in the craft. They're just doing stuff here and there and coining themselves this. I'm a
Oh
model.
yeah.
Well, who have you shot with? Well, this dude. That looks like a cell phone. Well, I'm a model. Well,
I was
models
in
are
the
Nah, I
more.
mean,
picture, God damn it.
I mean, everybody with a BBL is a model nowadays, so that's kind of just how that works. So I mean, and then on top of it, you got TikTok branding and stuff like that, sponsors on TikTok, stuff like that. They'll give you clothes to wear so you can show that BBL off in some random brand leggings and all that stuff.
I get it. I get an inbox the other day. Somebody says, "Hey, you want to be a brand ambassador? Click this link right here. We'll give you 10% off." What the fuck? I'm about to buy your shit for only 10% off to promote your shit for 10%.
Yeah, nah, I wouldn't do that.
My ass.
I wouldn't do that neither. So I mean, in terms of like circling back to like the raw footage and everything like that. First of all, I would need to be paid, and I would need to be paid up front. I don't do nothing on the back end especially for no raw footage. And in terms of showing people raw footage so they can pick which ones is going to get edited, you got to use like specific platforms where people can view it without downloading. So like, you know what I'm saying? If you really want to take a bunch of extra photos, you probably gonna have to screenshot it. Like I forgot that because it's been a minute since I had to do that. Because again, I give the raw footage to people because they already paid me up front, and I'll just give it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you pay me up front and you paid the rate,
and that's
like
different.
I said, you know what I mean? That's different. You know what I mean? But it's
So
like
you still go through all the editing after you gave them the raw footage?
I mean, yeah, we'll give it both. Like I'll give you the edits. Like essentially, what I would usually do is I'll upload everything into like a Google Drive folder. You'll pick out whichever ones you want edited. I'll edit that out and send it in another Google Drive folder, right? But if you don't want them to have the raw footage, just like certain softwares where you can send them like low resolution versions of all the photos, and then they pick whichever ones they want edited, and then you send them the full quality edits. You feel what I'm saying?
So what I started doing was I'll put my logo like through them, but it's real. It's not messing up the photo. But
yeah, like a watermark
if you
and all
use
that.
if you use that, it's there. You can use it. I don't care because you in a sense still promoting me. But no one wants to post a photo on social media with a watermark going through their body. You know what I mean? So that's something that I've started doing. But it goes back to the influencer. It goes back to the podcaster. It goes back to all content creators. It goes back to all these people are just getting into certain fields, saying they are whatever they are, and really have no idea. They don't know the laws associated with it. They don't like most models don't know the copyright laws, right?
Facts.
For just basic photography. They think because the photos are taken of them that they own exclusive rights to it. It's like,
and
that's
I mean,
not how that
another
works.
thing to that too, though, I will say a lot of these photographers don't know how to send paperwork. So
No, 100%.
that's
100%.
that's a both sided thing at that point. You feel what I'm saying? Even me, in my experiences, in my early days, I wasn't sending out contracts, invoices for real. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like it's just one of those things. It's a learning curve for a lot of people. So it's like they don't know the copyright, and then I've been blessed to not have no issues with my copyright. Like I said, I get paid up front, and I'm a real generous dude anyway. So it's like I can give you the raw footage. I know you're not gonna do nothing with it for real. It's just gonna sit forever. Like raw footage is just like one of those things. Like if I give you the raw footage, ain't nobody gonna look at this until somebody die, and you gotta repost their picture, and you're like, oh damn. We did do that photo shoot about 5 years ago. Let me, you know what I mean? That's one of those situations. So, luckily for me, again, I've been blessed to not have to deal with those issues, but photographers do deal with that. You know what I mean? They don't realize what their rights are in terms of the copyright, in terms of like them being the one who creates this content. They don't necessarily send out paperwork beforehand so that things can be set up properly. Or even like after the fact, even after you do the shoot, but before you start like editing or posting anything, you get some type of contract in place and they get jammed up. You know what I mean? So it's like I think paperwork is probably just in terms of creatives in general, like probably one of the most misguided things because people just don't send it, they don't know it, they don't care to know it, they don't care to bookkeeping, none of that.
And some of us still go based off of a person is of their word. You know what I mean? Or if you do a handshake deal, it is what it is. We shook on it. You know what I mean? But
Man,
a
that
lot
shit
of
don't mean
people out
nothing no
here
more.
at all.
Nothing.
At all. I mean, and
Ain't
You never realize
most
until you
motherfuckers
start
ain't a
doing
person of
business.
their word no more.
My
It's
handshake
very
deal
much-
nowadays is pay me enough for me not to care. You paid enough for me to not care. Then
Yeah.
That actually makes
your
sense.
word is whatever. I don't care what
right.
you do. You want to take the raws? Go ahead. I got paid how
Right.
much? Oh yeah, do whatever you do with them raws. Then run it
Right,
up.
right,
I'll see
right,
you
All right,
later.
100%.
so it's almost about that time for us to get out of here. But I got a couple pictures that I want to show y'all, and I want to get y'all opinions on them. I want y'all to let me know what y'all thinking. Yeah, hectic. It's going down, son. Chabo, first
You
thing to
have to
come to
come
your
with the
mind when you
fuckery.
see this right here. And I'm mainly asking you this because you from Atlanta. So in Atlanta, fashion is like, one of the top things that y'all think about when it comes to Atlanta, correct?
It is for sure. It's definitely a fashion show out here. I will say that I'm a little bit outside of what the younger generation be wearing.
I got you.
I'm more of a Franklin Saint from Snowfall type of drip. These
I
guys
figured
out
you
here are like, I don't know. It's a little. I ain't gonna.
calm chill,
I'm not
calm
gonna judge it.
chilly. I get it.
I'm not gonna judge it. I'm not gonna
I
judge
get it. But first thing to come to your mind when you see this picture.
it. Mustard. I don't know what the hell. Why the hell? Why?
Belt.
Just why? I think that I don't know what to think about this.
First of all, where the hell you found this picture at? Like you had to peruse some like
It looked Photoshop low key. So he using. I want to believe that's not real. I want to believe that's not real.
Listen, the shit that I see on these fashion weeks and all that, I'd be like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, shit people wear to these fucking award shows. I've never been a fashion dude. That's just me. I wear shit because I like it or because I want to. I don't be knowing a fucking thing about fashion. So when I see certain shit, it be like, why? Like, why are we doing this? What's the point? I
I
don't get
think
it.
for him, like I will say, either a white shirt or a black shirt would have worked better with the yellow. But
So you
I
you
don't
you
know.
you teaching this
I
nigga
don't
how to
know.
dress this shit up now?
I
How?
think I think it's already messed up. But if you gonna do it, like if
I
that's
mean,
what we doing,
he
and then
almost
on
looked
top of
like
it, how
what's
you get
cute
in and
is
out of that?
Bad,
Yeah.
the dude with the yellow, the Curious George, the
Oh
monkey.
shit!
Oh
The man in
yeah.
the yellow hat.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, in the yellow hat. Hell yeah. Yeah, I
I feel
wouldn't
like
rock
he was
that.
trying to match the shirt with the belt. You know what I mean?
yeah. Because when you
Nah.
said change it to white, then he would have to change the belt too.
Yeah, I mean, it probably made it easier to change the black man, black shirt, black belt.
Either way, that shit would have looked like shit
It
to
looked
me.
crazy regardless. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that would save the fit at all. It will look crazy.
All
The
right,
wedge
y'all.
alone would have been wild.
No
Pause.
holds bars, right? No holds bars. Headbutt competition, right? You out of pocket, Freddie. No holds bars. Headbutting competition. Who you got?
Ooh,
Wow.
why
That's
you don't
tough.
have Boosie on there? They literally just said Boosie and Gotti's head are some of the biggest in entertainment.
First of all,
I
pause
think.
that you actually said that shit out your mouth, my nigga.
Look, all right. In terms of what we talking about right here, I'm gonna put it's between Neo and Yo Gotti for me. I'm gonna pick Neo. His head's just doing something different. Pause. Pause.
No, thanks. Because that definitely
That
sounds
sounded
crazy.
insane. But he got like a Mega Mind type build on it. Pause. But yeah, like nah, yeah,
You
nah.
have to pause this whole segment.
Yeah, everything about it sound crazy.
Thanks.
It sound crazy.
Oh shit. Who you rocking with, Hector?
It is between Gotti and Neo.
Between
Extra
Gotti and
layer of
Neo.
dome, but that's
Yeah. I think I have to go with Yo Gotti. I think he's taking the win.
Roger the fuck that. So I feel like both of y'all dudes, y'all listen to a lot of music. Would you consider yourself a hip hop head, Chapo?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely been listening to the shout out to West Side Gun. He just dropped the album not too long ago.
Who?
Yo,
Who?
he don't like West Side. Never mind. Don't
You don't like
pay him
Griselda?
any.
Nah,
He don't
nah,
like
I'm
West
cool with
Side.
Griselda, but you
He don't like
listen
West
to a
Side.
whole you listen to a whole album of that nigga?
Yes.
Honestly, listen. Here's the thing about
he
it. Here's
dropped
the thing.
3
I
albums
need a
this year.
caveat. I'm gonna caveat out. Honestly, he got this one dude, Stove God Cooks. That guy is crazy. He's every verse I ever heard him do on every Griselda album is crazy. Stove God is on like at least 8 out of 13 songs. So I'm like, I gotta.
So you listen to 13 songs with that nigga on it.
I told you I like West Side.
Look, I like the
I mean,
production. I like the production. He ain't the most lyrical.
That nigga gave you 4 bars per verse on every song, didn't he?
Listen,
and
he's not the lyrical one.
Don't forget about the boom, 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 boom.
He's not
that was one of his bars.
He's not the lyrical one out of Griselda, bro. Like I understand that. Like
he's not the lyrical one out of anything. We're not
Right.
doing
But
that.
at the same time, like I don't need him to be. He curates. He know how to curate. He know how to pick good production. He know how to get good features. He know how to stay in his lane. And he know how to, you know what I'm saying? That's all I can ask for.
All right, okay.
At that point.
Both of y'all from the South. Okay.
For sure.
That nigga, what's the nigga name again?
West Side Gun.
West Side Gun or Silk the Shocker?
West Side.
Damn, that's crazy. I'm picking Silk, bro. That's crazy.
I listen to Silk all day over that.
I wouldn't
nigga.
That's a tough one though because of just how much I just like that style of hip hop of just the boom bap, the New York, the drumless beats, the Alchemist type instrumentals. Like I just always like dig that type of stuff. Like just in my hip hop headery pause. But
it's just crazy coming from Atlanta.
That's just I don't know.
I can't say that. I can't say that. I actually met a lot of dudes from Atlanta that prefer New York hip hop. And I ain't gonna say prefer it, but they listen to a lot of New York hip hop.
Yeah, I think that honestly, I don't know because it's like I listen to a lot of people from the South too. It's like it's regional. Like I don't have like I think that the South is a lot more diverse now more than ever because of just how many people came from places like Atlanta or
that's
even
because niggas starting to rap now.
Yeah, there's a lot more, people really like rapping for real, And I'm from the east side of Atlanta where it's like we had probably some of the most lyrical people from the South for real, except for like, Outkast, you know what I'm saying? They from the more to the South side, but so yeah, I always just been a fan of like just, that type of style of music, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of always been because even when I was in high school, I had an era where I stopped listening to Gucci. I stopped listening to Waka so I could listen to more like New York people. That's when I started getting into like that's when I first heard Nas' first album. Like when I first heard Illmatic was in like 10th grade. You feel what I'm saying? I first heard Ready to Die by Biggie. You know what I'm saying? These are the stuff I was listening to, and I was like a big fan of that type of stuff. So I mean, I can't compare West Side to Silk the Shocker. Silk is a legend, and I think West Side just kind of exists. So it's like a.
I do think it's crazy how so many people shit on Silk, but they give a lot of dudes nowadays passes, which I think is crazy. Because Silk wasn't that bad to me. I actually thought Silk was all right.
No, yeah,
like, that's just me.
I used to listen to a lot of Silk when I was young.
Yeah, I listened to whole Silk albums, and niggas used to be like, "Man, why you listening to this nigga? He ain't even rapping on beat." I'm like, "But is you listening to what this nigga saying though?"
But I think
you know what I mean? Like
it's just kind of like.
But then you bring it up to current day, and it's like a lot of these rappers don't rap on beat, and it's like, oh, this shit popping. It's like, but y'all.
It wouldn't even be current day. I just think it's just like Silk the Shocker being from the South and him not necessarily having an off kilter flow, kind of like put him in like a different bracket than if he was from up north. Because I'm a fan of MF Doom. He wasn't always rapping on beat. To be honest, like he was probably one of the most off kilter flows in hip hop. You feel what I'm saying? Like in a lot of songs. So it's just kind of like it's just one of those regional types things that like, when you from the South, they already consider you like slower than most, even though that's never really the case for real. But that's just always was, especially back then, more the mentality. You feel what I'm saying? So I get why people are like that, but it's everything that you're saying too. A lot of these folks nowadays, they be on the pills. They don't care to rap on.
Them niggas ain't even trying. They just like fuck it.
Speaking
Speaking of, what y'all thinking? One gotta go. What's leaving?
Chicago drill, easy.
Yeah, Chicago
Easy.
drill.
Easy. I'm never going. First of all, you pick Atlanta trap with a picture of Gucci. I'm never taking that out the list. Stop it.
Wow.
I just told you I'm from the East Side. I'm not taking the East Side nigga out of this. That's never gonna happen.
Roger that.
I just told you I love New York boom bap.
Right. You just
West Coast gangster rap is also another one of them ones. So you feel what I'm saying? I think that like, you know, Snoop deserves all his flowers. Dr. Dre deserves all his flowers. NWA. Tupac, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people like that, Too Short, you know what I'm saying?
Do you fuck with current day West Coast gangster rap?
What's current day? I mean, I can't say is Nipsey current day because he passed away a while ago.
Nipsey will be considered current, even though Nipsey was out for a long time before. It's a weird situation with that because Nipsey was out for a long time. Then it was like, as soon as he died, everybody was like, "Oh, he was the greatest rapper ever." Like, y'all niggas just heard him this year. Like,
I think it was the run that he had on that very last album. You know, Victory Lap. That last album,
he had some crazy mixtapes though. Like,
he had a lot of mixtapes before that. Like, yo, he was crushing it. You know what I'm saying? Like Slauson Boy projects that he was doing, like all that stuff was very tough. So I mean, like in terms of like him, I rock with heavy. Of course, Kendrick. I don't know if we count it as gangster rap, but he's just so diverse. We can count it however you want to.
What about Larry June? You fuck with him?
Definitely Larry June. I definitely rock with him for sure.
So Two Chainz, and Alchemist actually has an album out.
I'm not a fan. I'm not. It just didn't.
I haven't listened to it.
I think it's. I feel like the niggas. I'm gonna be honest with you. First of all, I ain't the biggest 2 Chainz fan. I'm just saying. And I know you look like the nigga, sound like the nigga, and all that. I don't give a fuck, son. I've never been a big like. I actually liked him more when he was Titty Boy, to be honest with you, because I felt like he knew he was saying crazy shit, but he wasn't trying to be like the greatest rapper ever by doing it. Now that nigga just say any fucking thing and motherfuckers be like, oh my goodness, the shock value of what he just said, that don't make it hot because it got shock value. I'm just saying. All
right. Hold up.
Go ahead with your Atlanta shit. Go ahead. Talk your shit. Go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna have to put my Atlanta hat on for this one. First of all, if I had I'm the type of person I have 2 top 5s, right? My top 5 favorites, my top 5 best. You feel what I'm saying? 2 Chainz ain't in my top 5.
Both of them?
He ain't in both of them. He's in my top 5 favorite for sure. The favorite rappers in terms of like.
By no means am I saying he the worst rapper alive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just not like I'm not about to listen to a whole 2 Chainz album at one time. Like that nigga get 2 songs max. If a third song come on, I'm changing the song.
Well, I mean,
wow.
I don't know what to say to that. I've listened to all his projects. I'm more the other way around. Like I didn't like him when he was Titty Boy, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't.
As Titty Boy, he wasn't on every song. So it worked.
Too, the thing with it was like I was listening to like, you know, being from where he's from, like I heard all his mixtapes when he was Titty Boy, all the stuff he was doing. Obviously, what was that song? I just call her boo. I don't know her whole name. That was like a hit when he was Titty Boy. You feel what I'm saying? I don't even know what
that song is.
See, and it was just so long ago. You feel what I'm saying? This was like years ago. And I was like, I was so young when that came out. I didn't even know that Titty Boy and 2 Chainz was the same person. So when he started calling himself 2 Chainz, I was just that young. This was like what, 9th grade, 8th grade? Like I was young as hell. So I'm like, dang, bro, why this nigga rapping like Titty Boy? So why he sounding so much like him? But then like I realized it was him. Like I think he did a song with it was that song with Wale he did like when Wale was still doing mixtapes. And that's when I realized like, oh, this is Titty Boy. He just changed his name. You know what I mean? And then like it really
changed it again. I think he's going by Tony now.
Yeah, man, Antonio. Yeah, he did a he's been doing interviews. Him, Alchemist, and Larry June been doing interviews for that album.
Yeah, I tried to. Don't get me wrong. I fuck with Larry June. I can't listen to every song of Larry June either. Like I could listen to Cali music, but so long until they get like super California. That's when I'm like, I can't really fuck with it. Like the last Kendrick album, it wasn't horrible. It was just too California for me.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. So I think that honestly, I would say give the new album a listen. Honestly, I agree with you on the Larry
with him
June.
and 2 Chainz.
Yeah, because I think
listened
that
to the whole fucking album. 2 Chainz started annoying me after a while because it was like, nigga, like rap, motherfucker, like stop playing. Like, what? Stop trying to be funny, nigga. Just fucking rap. Like,
that's just what he do. What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? And it's still hard.
I wanted him to rap, not try to be funny. Like, nigga,
Anyway,
stop trying to crack jokes on beat, nigga. Rap.
Anyway,
rap, nigga.
Listen. Anyway, I think that I agree with your sentiment on
I'm hurting your feelings a little bit. I apologize, but
I'm gonna let it ride. You my dog. I'm gonna let it ride. But
I don't know. He's gonna say one more out of pocket thing. He's gonna be like, "Let's end this show."
Nah. It's all love. It's all love. It's all love. I let it ride. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's a lot of criticism 2 Chainz been getting his whole career. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? You can agree, disagree. I get it. You know what I'm saying? 2 Chainz is one of my favorite artists, man. Like, this is what it is. I agree with you on the Larry June sentiment. I think when he's doing that Cali bounce type flow stuff, I don't listen to none of that. So all them projects he do with Cardo and all that, I don't like none of that. I think he's another one of those guys who rap off kilter sometimes.
He definitely do. He do it always. He actually do it a lot.
So it's just kind of like it's definitely like when he's doing it on the Cali bounce beat, it definitely feel like he is not comfortable rapping on that type of stuff, but he do it anyway. And like,
I didn't know he was a single. I didn't know he was a single dad either.
Yeah,
so
you know what I'm saying.
That kind of moved him up. And
what?
Yeah. So he brings his son
he's
to
a
like
single
a lot
dad.
of stuff.
What the fuck that had to do with bars, nigga?
He raps about
it because for one, we talk about podcasts for an hour and like 20 minutes. So what I was saying is, like, depending on the person's how they present themselves on the podcast, I might have not fucked with them at all before that. But if I could connect with them, then I'm like, oh, let me go check their music out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. That makes sense.
And I think that even just watching like their interviews together, 2 Chainz, Larry June, Alchemist, and the type of like stuff they were talking about doing this album, the stuff they've done in the past, and the processes of working together. I think that it gave me a lot more perspective that made me enjoy the album a little bit more. You know what I mean?
I actually was surprised that them two did an album together, but I was even more surprised that they picked Alchemist to do the beats.
I mean, it's not
because it was like them three together just don't sound like it was supposed to be together.
I mean, Larry June and Alchemist already got that
crazy on that album, though. I will say that the beat selection is ridiculous.
Alchemist is always going to kill it. I don't think I've heard one Alchemist beat I didn't like. Honestly, like even when he did, I can name plenty of albums. The Freddie Gibbs joints, the joints he do with Bodie James. He did an album with just Larry June last year. Like him and Larry did something together last year. That was pretty good. That's one of my favorite albums.
Alchemist is definitely a acquired. Like I have to be in the mood to listen to Alchemist track.
Man, no, to me, Alchemist is like a modern day, like Pete Rock or some shit. Like he's not giving you, he's gonna give you fire every time you hear this motherfucker.
And I think too, it's just that he curates the beat to the artist.
Yeah.
So it's like if you don't like the production, it may be because you may not like the artist because he's doing that beat for that artist. The beats he do for Freddie Gibbs ain't the same beats he's doing for Larry June and 2 Chainz. You feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's just one of those situations too. You know what I mean? So I always been a fan of Alchemist. I always been a fan of 2 Chainz. Larry June, when he's rapping on like Alchemist type beats or things of that nature, is more in my lane. So this was a good album for me personally. I don't know what to tell you about the 2 Chainz stuff.
So I haven't listened to the album yet. I went through different people this past week. I'm listening to the new Tory right now. So after I'm done with that, then I'll go ahead and.
Hey, real quick, Chop, real quick. Just to see what you thinking. Mount Rushmore of Atlanta rappers. Not East Side Atlanta, I don't know all the different sides. Just Atlanta in general. Mount Rushmore of Atlanta rappers. Who you rocking with? Now Hector, you know how motherfuckers be like, oh, we talking about East Coast, we talking about West Side,
and then they want to break. Then they want to break it down to the side, and then to the neighborhood.
I don't know no
Within the
streets, no
size,
none of
yeah.
that. Just the whole fucking. You know
All
what I
right,
mean?
yeah, I feel it. I'm gonna put. All right, I'm gonna. So of course, like I said, I'm an East Side nigga. So I'm gonna take my East Side biases out of the equation. Mount Rushmore, I gotta say T.I. and Jeezy gotta be there.
Okay.
You know what I
If you didn't
mean?
have Jeezy on, I would have ended the show. I'm
Yeah,
just
Jeezy was
letting you
just one
know.
of
Jeezy
those
would have been in my
guys.
top
Like
five. I mean, my
new
top four.
Jeezy now, I don't know what Jeezy got going on once he married
That
that.
last album was super
Yeah.
dookie.
I
You
think he
ain't like
got.
it?
That shit was
Alright.
dookie, cuz. I respect the grown man bars, but nigga,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Nah, I think
He's one of those rappers, he has to rap about that brick that he had 20 years ago. He has to rap about that shit.
100%. But I think that
Yeah.
he kind of I think he just lost a lot of edge. You feel what I'm saying?
Because he
just
didn't
as
talk
time
about he
went
wasn't talking
on.
about that brick.
Yeah, his priorities changed. He's more grown now, and then, like I said,
Yeah.
he started, that lady he was dating and married and stuff like that. I don't know, changed his perspective. But old Jeezy, like, catapulted a lot of stuff in the city. So, Trap or Die is like a fucking classic. So yeah, Jeezy, T.I. I don't know if we count Outkast as one or two people, but
It's up to you. I mean, different people gonna say different shit. It's up to you.
I think honestly, I put Andre 3000 as one of the greatest rappers to ever do it. So you know what I mean? We made Just the Flute shit.
Even with the flute, I was about to
Yeah,
say.
I wasn't gonna bring up the Dalai Lama classic, but
The
you had to
flute,
do it.
listen, the flute stuff ain't the worst thing I ever heard. And he won a Grammy for it. So we can talk all we want about it.
Man, that was a
So,
pity Grammy. We ain't doing that shit,
hey,
son.
when's the win?
Fucking Dalai Lama classic. This nigga gave us the fucking Nell Salon mixtape. That
When
was
the
some
girl look, when
bullshit,
the girl
guys.
give you
Facts,
some
huge facts.
look,
Huge facts.
if a bad chick give you some coochie, you gonna say, "Oh, you did this for pity," or you gonna be like, "Oh, I got some coochie."
Nah,
Which
she
one?
don't know.
So it's like,
Nah, we ain't doing that shit, son.
But
Nah.
anyway, you asked me Mount Rushmore. All right, so I'm gonna count
Yeah.
Outkast, T.I., Jeezy. I'm throwing Gucci in there. I don't.
Mount Rushmore is only 4, son.
Oh,
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna say that shit. I knew he was.
yeah.
He was.
I figured.
Listen,
I figured you was
see
gonna
how
say it.
see how this dude set you up. He was gonna let you say a fifth one, and
If I had an honorary mention, I would have to say 2 Chains, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be
I'm
honest.
gonna be honest with you. I'm surprised 2 Chains wasn't number 1 for you because you
He's
said he
not
was
a
the
number
greatest rapper
one.
ever. Like,
He's not a number one because for me, like I said, my East Side biases. I'm gonna throw Gucci in there regardless. Gucci, T.I., Jeezy are like the top 3 originators of real like trap music. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like trap music would never exist the way that it is now if it wasn't for them 3. You feel what I'm saying? And then Outkast is like strictly in terms of craft. Like they are like some of the greatest musicians that we've ever had. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, Andre 3000 is one of the greatest MCs to ever rap.
yeah, I think if it wasn't for Outkast, Atlanta would not be looked at the way it is when it comes to
Exactly. You feel what I'm saying?
sure.
So like I gotta put them up there. But then like I said, honorary mention is 2 Chains, man, because it's like we can talk about the funny bars, but they still clever. They still hit. He still got hit records. He still got longevity.
Who's the white boy named Rodney Dangerfield? That nigga is the rap version of Rodney Dangerfield.
Yo,
tell me I'm lying, son.
I don't know.
Tell me I'm lying,
crazy.
son. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's wow.
But my whole thing is like again, even with the funny bars.
Now we talking about people doing shit for clickbait. That was for clickbait.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
That was kind of
That's not for clickbait.
I can't co-sign
nigga,
that.
think about you. Hectic, you old enough to know who Rodney Dangerfield is.
I know who Rodney Dangerfield is, yes.
So tell me 2 Chains ain't a black hip-hop version of Rodney Dangerfield.
I can't say that. I can't
you
say that.
You don't want to say it. Not wanting to say it and can't say it is 2 different things.
I cannot say it.
What I
will say is this. This is what I will say.
And he's a great performer.
2 Chainz is a great performer.
No. Wait.
So like he is a.
I went to. It was like this ski vacation weekend, and at the end of the weekend, it was a concert. When I first found out about it, it was 2 Chainz, it was Wale, and some more was the host. The host. In my mind, I'm like, bet. I want to see Wale do his fucking thing. But I forget Wale do all these fucking love songs. But I don't listen to all the love song shit. I'm thinking about all the other shit he be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get there, Wale got booed off the stage, which was crazy. I'm like, damn. Like, even bitches was like, nigga,
I'm
we
not surprised.
get it. We don't want to hear that love shit, nigga. We get it. Do some other shit. You know what I mean? 2 Chainz got up there. The nigga put on a hell of a fucking show. Yeah. I gotta respect that. I'm gonna respect that 100%. The
He's a great performer.
Hell of a fucking performer, son. Hell of a fucking performer. I'm not taking that away from him at all. I'm not. But he's still the Rodney Dangerfield of rap. But keep going.
Listen, here's the thing to that. I'm not gonna say all that. What I will say is that 2 Chainz is a lot more purposeful with what he says than what people think. So if he says something that's funny, he means to be funny. If he says something that's clever and we thought was amusing, he meant to do it that way.
No, I get that.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's
Rodney Dangerfield did the same thing.
Can we end the show? Can we
listen? All I got to say, 2 Chainz, I love you, brother. You don't deserve this slander that you're getting right now. Listen, we talk about Mercy. Had the best verse on Mercy songs when Kanye was going crazy. Come on now, catch up to my
This was pre-Kanye going crazy.
Yes,
Mercy wasn't crazy
my
yet.
Campaign. Cool the color of mayonnaise.
I'm not saying
champagne in an airplane.
By no means am I saying he's the worst rapper ever. By no means am I actually saying that he's super trash. I just can't. I got a 2-song minimum. I grew up in an era where all I heard was bars. Not, I'm trying to be funny. I heard bars. I'm from Philly. I've heard bars my whole life.
So you don't like Luda? You don't like Luda either?
I like Luda, and Luda might get 4 songs before I'm gonna put something else on. Damn, I might come back. I might come back.
Luda was rapping with Wayne. He was rapping with Wayne.
I understand. I hear you. Listen,
oh god,
I like the witty shit. I like the crazy metaphors. I fucks with it. But am I gonna listen to a Luda album all the way through? Probably not. I'm gonna put something else on. So I'm one of those people I put on playlists, right? I create playlists. It's some 2 Chainz shit on every playlist I got. It's at least 3 or 4 2 Chainz songs on there. If by chance 2 Chainz songs come on in a row,
back to back,
yes. Before the second one go off, I make sure I hit next just to make sure it's not another 2 Chainz song coming on. I'm just saying, like, I'll let both of them play. Even if one of them is a feature, I'll let both of them play. But when I know we get down to that
featured,
once we get down to that last couple seconds, I'm hitting next. Cause nigga, you not getting a 3rd fucking verse in my ear.
So who all is in this playlist then? Who's all in this playlist right now?
But my playlist could be all over the place. I could have T.I., fucking Jay-Z, Larry June, fucking it could be a lot of different shit. Like I could be all over the place. I listen to a lot of music. That's just me.
I listen to a lot of music too,
man. A lot of different music.
I listen to a lot of music too, man. 2 Chainz, you deserve so much more respect. And Ludacris.
Well, I guess Luda gets 4, but
I'm not trying to disrespect the ball. I'm not trying to say nothing crazy.
So 6, you really going out of crazy.
What's that?
6 songs. You got 4 with Luda.
I'm not listening to 6 2 Chainz, so that's not even an option.
I'm talking about Luda and 2 Chainz.
So I'm skipping. I'm not listening to listen. Luda is one of the greatest rappers to ever do it, if you ask me. But that don't mean I'm gonna keep listening to that shit back to back. I'm just not doing it. I think when you think of punchline rappers, you have to put Luda in that conversation, which a lot of people crazy is crazy to me that a lot of people try not to do that, which I don't understand.
Yeah, that's right.
Luda is one of the best punchline rappers ever. Ever.
1000%. Yes.
But a lot of people don't want to agree with that. They don't look at him as a punchline rapper, which is weird because they assume when you doing punchlines, it's, oh, I got the car the same color as some shit that don't fucking exist. That don't necessarily make it a fucking punchline. You just said some weird shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luda, his punchlines be like, oh fuck, what the fuck this nigga just say? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he say some crazy shit that make you actually think. But I don't think I've ever listened to a Ludacris album start to finish. I literally listen to like certain songs. It's just me, son. I'm just saying. I don't give a fuck how y'all niggas sitting there rubbing y'all heads and shit. Pause. Like
crazy. This is insane.
I listen to music how I listen to music. I'm just saying.
All right, weirdo.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know if she had something she wanted to say or not. She just randomly popped up out of nowhere.
No, she's waiting for us to end the show.
Oh, Roger, the fuck that. But yeah, it is what the fuck it is. I feel how I feel. I said what I said, goddamn it. I'm just saying. But we about to get the fuck about this camp before we go. Y'all
after
know
you said some blasphemous shit. Go ahead.
Some wild ass shit.
I ain't say nothing. Listen. I said I feel how I feel. I ain't mad at you. Yo, how about this? We agree to disagree. Y'all think 2 Chainz the greatest rapper ever? I don't.
I didn't say greatest rapper ever. I didn't say
right. Now you going overboard.
If he's in any form of top 5, he has to be.
He's not in my top 5.
He's not in my top 5 greatest, but he's in my top 5 favorite. Off the
to be put in a top 5. So here's how I look at any form of top 5. To be in any form of top 5, you have to be a great at something. So if you the top 5 best, that means you top 5 best rappers ever, or top 5 greatest rappers ever, or top 5 punchlines rappers. Like you have to be one of the you have to be above everybody for you to be in a top 5. To me, putting 2 Chainz in any form of top 5, even when it comes to punchlines, wouldn't happen for me.
And see, that's what I'm saying. I have a top 5 greatest and a top 5 favorite. Favorite just means that, like, biasly speaking, these are my favorite artists that I listen to consistently.
So he's like greatest great to you. Then. If he's your favorite, that means he's above a lot of motherfuckers.
That is true, but at the same time, like,
all right, who's your top 5 favorites? I need to know now.
Top 5 favorites: Big Crit, J. Cole, Kendrick, Gucci, 2 Chainz. That's the 5 right there. Top 5 greatest. That's my top 5 favorite. You know what I'm saying? So top 5 greatest, I would say Eminem, Jay-Z. I'm throwing Kendrick Lamar in there, Andre 3000, and Rakim.
Why wouldn't you?
Damn. How?
Greatest to ever do. A lot of people are influenced.
Rakim was before his time, son.
Exactly. Rakim, we wouldn't have a lot of artists without him.
No, I just haven't heard someone recent as Rakim being their top 5.
Okay.
So I'm like, when I say greatest, I mean like you were influential.
No,
you had the bars, you had the songs, you had everything, right? Favorite is like I rock with this person, I rock with they, you know what I'm saying, their music, I rock with how they, you know what I'm saying, they whatever they style, whatever the case may be. You feel what I'm saying? So like that's why I can have like 2 separate ones. You feel what I'm saying?
I was on the show last year. We was interviewing this dude. Young boy was 18 years old. My nigga told me LL was one of the greats. After he said that, I'm not surprised by nobody's top 5 ever again.
LL is one of them greats though.
No. LL actually is in my top 5, but that nigga's 18. That nigga's 18. Nigga, you ain't listening to LL for real.
I don't think we would have one without
top 5.
So you think he just said it because that's what he's supposed to say?
Yes. That's why every time I hear somebody, if you under 25 and you throw Biggie in your top 5, I don't believe you. If you throw Tupac in your top 5, I don't believe you. Like certain motherfuckers, I just don't believe you.
I can see
you know
that.
what I mean? Like,
yeah, Biggie would be my 6th man.
That's why when he said Rakim, I was like,
I think Biggie would be my 6th man only because I think just in terms of I'm kind of like a contrarian in that type of respect when it comes to Pac and Big. Pac would be my 7th man. You feel what I'm saying? Really, because I feel like a lot of people throw them into their top fives just because it's everything you just said is trendy. It's easy to just say that. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm like, again, we wouldn't we wouldn't have a lot of these artists. You feel what I'm saying? Without Andre 3000, we wouldn't have a lot of South artists. You feel what I'm saying? Jay-Z put on a lot of artists. Eminem showed people outside of being black that you can rap. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like the expansiveness of hip hop comes from a lot of these people.
Okay, you talking about the total impact that they.
Yeah, I'm talking about impact. I'm talking about what they can do as an artist and what kind of impact they had to the game as a whole.
Okay,
that's just me speaking unbiased.
Here's what we got. Here's what I'm gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Right? We're gonna set up a time. We're gonna set up a day. Probably sometime next month. We're doing an all hip hop conversation. We're bringing Chapo back to have this conversation. Because it's surprising. I ain't gonna lie. It's surprising to hear a nigga from Atlanta actually be able to talk about music. I ain't gonna hold you. It is. Because most motherfuckers from it, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Most motherfuckers from Atlanta be like, oh, it's Atlanta or nothing. Like, the nigga, it's more music out there than just Atlanta music, guys. Like,
that's why I was shocked that he had a New York influence.
I think even
I meet a lot of people with New York influence, but it's just you find so many dudes that's just like, if it ain't Atlanta, I don't listen to it. And it's like, how the fuck? How do you know music? How do you know that Atlanta music is good if you don't listen to nothing else? That don't even make sense.
And see, being in Atlanta for a lot of these movements, it's like I saw a lot of that, and it made me again more of a contrarian to it. You feel what I'm saying? Like I had conversations in high school, like people telling me that like Future was a better rapper than J. Cole. And I was like mind blown by how anyone could ever think that. You feel what I'm saying? This is back.
That's the Atlanta.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's one of those things where it's like, is everything you say? It's Atlanta, so it's like Future is like a god out here. You feel what I'm saying? It's like even for me and be from the East Side, like Gucci is a living legend where I'm from. Like genuinely, like people were afraid to see him. People envied him. He was one of the few people, like, when you see these rappers pulling up in Lambos in the hood, I'm like, we really saw him pulling up to the hood. I got a whole story. He picked up a nigga at my high school. He was dating his mama. Pulled up and picked this nigga up at the high school in a fucking Lamb.
Wow.
Who the fuck does that? This was like 09. You feel what I'm saying? Like, this is levels of, like, again, a living legend where I'm from. So it's like, that's why I'm like, I had to like really look at just me being such a music fan that I am and be like, yo, I gotta be a little bit unbiased when it comes to like real heavy hitters in the game as a whole versus who I am, like in terms of like favoritism, just based on what I like specifically. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I've listened to Rakim, I listened to a lot of Jay-Z, I've listened to a lot of Eminem. But like
you expanded your palette, so that's how you know.
But it's like Gucci, 2 Chainz, like people like that, they still resonate with me to the point where I come back to it more frequently than I listen to them. But that doesn't discredit what they did in the game. They don't discredit the quality of their music. It just means that personally, just based on like the various factors that make me a specific human being, I like 2 Chainz, I like Gucci. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, Gucci's a living legend where I'm from. Like, you know what I'm saying? We had horror stories about just Gucci. He was really a boogeyman out here. You know what I'm saying? People saw him as a boogeyman. Some people saw him as motivation.
FYI, T.I. one of my favorite rappers of all time. Just so
T.I.'s one of the greatest of all time.
Just in case you thought I just didn't like Atlanta niggas. Like,
even me calling myself El Chapo, that came from Gucci. I got that from Gucci. Before Gucci was like, before he got locked up, he was calling himself El Chapo, spelled the exact same way that I spell it.
I ain't gonna hold you. You definitely give off 2 Chainz vibes though, just so you know. Just saying. But all right, listen, we got
definitely. I would love to come back, man. Thank y'all for having me for sure. You know,
no problem.
Definitely gonna have you back.
Set up the time, and I'll come right back as many times as you want to do it. Let's do it.
Facts. Before you go, let everybody know who you are, what you got going on, where they can find you at, all that type shit.
Yes, sir. So look, again, I'm Tevin El Chapo. Friends call me Chop. You follow me on social media. It's spelled the same way, TEVINELCHOPO. That's Instagram, that's TikTok. That's my second YouTube channel. Been dropping videos on that channel as well. Also, you can check us out if you need your own podcasting services. You can check out Chop House Media Group. That's Chop House, like Chop House Media Group, spelled regular. You know what I mean? The same with the social media account. You know, go on Instagram, Chop House Media Group. If you go on YouTube, the Chop House Media Group YouTube channel is where my podcast is, Chop Logic. We bring on creatives from different walks of life in the creative space. We also do solo episodes as well. And we give out cash prizes every single episode. Well, almost every episode. We do trivia first. So if I get the trivia wrong, you get a cash prize. If I get it right, I keep my money. So you got to watch every episode to see if I get the questions wrong. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Chop House Media Group. Make sure you follow me on all platforms at Tevin El Chapo. Again, thank y'all so much for having me on. You know, man, if you have any questions about content, just hit me up. You know, I'm an open book 100%.
Definitely. We definitely gonna be bringing you back for sure. Hectic, talk your shit, little nigga.
All right, so it's Hectic. Yours truly, guest on this show. I do enjoy my time being here. HD Nation on YouTube. You can follow me there. Whatever by Hectic. We're coming back with season 3 after I think this week or next week. We'll start filming back for Whatever by Hectic. Like the new set, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. Also on HD Nations, I'll be doing all kind of camera, life advice, kind of reveals and stuff like that. So just check that out. Go to HD Nation on YouTube, and yeah, just stay tuned because some really really big things are on its way.
Pause.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah, we ain't doing that shit. Listen, y'all know what it is. So I decided that if you've been fucking with me since the beginning, I used to do a segment that I called Raw Reactions, where I did do reactions to certain videos. Most of it was like fights or like movie premieres and shit like that. But then folks started just sending me random ass TikTok shit. I don't even fucking like TikTok, but I used to do the TikTok reviews and all that type of shit too. So send me a video to this Instagram right here. Just send me the link to the video. I'm doing all blind reactions. I'm not watching the video, so whatever you see is going to be a straight up raw reaction. That's why I'm calling it the raw reaction. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Those will be coming soon, so make sure y'all check it out. But until then, stay enlightened, be enlightened, and we out this bitch.